going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show? Is you know them, you love them, you got to have them. We'll try to keep it down. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, of course, we'll talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Levante David speaks to the media. New linebacker for the Bucs. Walker also speaks to the media. We'll go through some mock drafts. And then after that, we will ask the question, where were you 5 years ago? Because Monday night I missed. I'm sorry. I was kind of sick. You got to love working 8 hours with congestion, and the tree pollen is absolutely crap. I mean, it absolutely sucks.
This guy sucks.
It really does. And when you get sick, it's tough to talk. And you try to come on the show here, so we missed it. But the anniversary was on Monday night. Where were you 5 years ago when Tom Brady signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? So we'll throw that out there. What do you think about the Bucs and what they've done in free agency so far? Of course, open phone lines as always, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, we will talk about the Rays Stadium situation. And once again, it's not done.
That's good enough to suck right there.
It really is, Brady. Yeah, I wish Tom Brady had a group, or Jeff Vinnick had a group, or anybody at this point would get a group together and get this stadium situation done. In case you've been under a rock or you have not watched sports lately or my social media. Let me go ahead and get you out of here. Oh, sorry about that. Want to go to this. Hold on a sec. I want to make sure. Oh, let me just read what I wrote. Of course, Stu Sternberg decided not to do the stadium deal, which was a shock to no one. Because if you watch the JP Peterson show, which we were planning to have him on tonight, but it looks like we're not going to. We're planning to have Rock Rally on tonight. Something came up, so we'll have him on next week. But in case you caught my social media post, I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. By the way, there is nothing political that I post on my page. I'm going to make this abundantly clear. Politics to me are boring. They are completely boring. This is the reason why I talk sports, to take your mind off of it. So when I post a Tesla, it doesn't necessarily mean that you say, I hope you get into your car and blow up in it. Okay? Keep that stuff away. Whether I post it on my own page, I love St. Pete, I don't need that nonsense. And then when I post this, because I'm going to read this to you, and it offended a couple people, which I don't really understand why you were offended by this. But I'm going to go ahead and go for it. So, and then Alex Dunster was the one who actually asked me to give me my thoughts. So here's what I had to say, and we got some great comments on it, and you guys can comment on it. And if you're a Rays fan, as I've said always, it is ridiculous. It's nonsensical. Leo Word, which we will have him on. We'll have Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast on in just a couple minutes as I set up the show. And again, we'll take your phone calls. It is nonsensical that you have an owner that continues to ask you, the Tampa Bay or, Tampa Bay sports fan, the Pinellas County taxpayer, the Hillsborough County taxpayer, to invest in his product, but he never invests in his own product. And here's one more case to it. I say, are we really surprised that once again, Stu Sternberg torpedoed the stadium deal as he did in 2018 with the Ebor deal, which he did. Fans will be up in arms blaming their politicians from both counties, but the one constant is in this mess has always been Stu Sternberg.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Mr. Sternberg has always wanted to squeeze as much money from the respective counties along with taxpayers like yourselves. That's all he cares about. That's why the deal will never get done. And by the way, if you are still defending Stu Sternberg, you are an idiot.
This guy sucks.
You are an idiot.
Shitter!
Because with his actions the last 10 to 15 years, I don't know what you're looking at. And by the way, it takes a lot more than just wins and losses. You have to endear yourself to the Tampa Bay community, not just Pinellas County, not just St. Pete, Hillsborough County, Newport Richey, Holiday, Hudson, Clearwater, all around the place. You have to be like Jeff Vennick, of the Tampa Bay Lightning. You have to be like the Glazers. You have to endear yourself. You have to reach out. You have to treat your business as if you give a damn, which this owner does not. Which is why I'm always on this program, along with the great JP Peterson, who does his shows Monday and Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. You would think with all the money that's been saved through the years with not spending on his own team, bringing back fan favorites, or making moves to not only win, but go for a World Series championship that he could afford it himself. Of course, why spend my money when I can spend yours, which is what I put out there. It's always been crazy to me to ask fans to invest in my product in obscene amounts of money, but not do it yourself. People in the media defend these actions. Why? It goes back to the old song lyric. Why spend my money when I can spend yours? Yes, I went old school hip hop. Let's face it, this situation for the last 10 to 15 years has been like a toxic relationship. Well, Mr. Sternberg is the needy girlfriend who is never happy. That was offensive to somebody. I don't give a damn. Some of you people need to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what was I referring to? Was I trying to offend you? Was I trying to character assassinate you? No, I was not. And I'm going to double down on it. And again, it's real simple on social media. If you don't like what I write, scroll on, block. I don't care. With that being said, it does not matter what it takes or who he hurts in the process. Did we forget the constant threats of moving the team or lowering the cap or saying at the time that it wouldn't work in St. Petersburg? The narrative from the media throughout the whole process has been the team deserves better because fans don't show up. My question is, why would fans show up for an owner who has no connection to the community ever? Nobody can answer this. National media will get on here and they will absolutely crush the Tampa Bay sports fan, the baseball fan, which there are baseball fans in this community. Make no mistake about it. It's not just Bucs fans on this show. There are Tampa Bay Rays fans. I guarantee you there are. They're watching this program right now. And they never have an answer to that question. Never. Why would they show up? What's the reason? Oh, because it's only baseball team. Really? I'll take my money somewhere else. Seriously. Again, the narrative from the media throughout the whole process has been the team deserves better because fans didn't show up. My question is, why would fans show up for an owner who has no connection to the community ever? The example of how tone deaf this ownership is to the Tampa Bay area would be the stupidity of blaming the Pinellas County Commission for a late vote, which cost them $150 million, according to the ownership of the Rays. Keep in mind, the commission was trying to deal with being hit by two catastrophic hurricanes at the time. People lost everything during those events. The lack of empathy by this man is pathetic. Pathetic to blame two hurricanes. People care about that. Again, this is what it's all about, trying to endear yourself, which you don't, which you are just tone deaf to that whole situation. Let me say this, from everything I've heard, there's a real possibility this team will be sold. Another ownership group, and it's being forced by Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. On behalf of every Tampa Bay Rays fan and every Tampa Bay sports fan, Mr. Manfred, it's time to give this area what they have always deserved, an ownership that cares about the fans in this community. Let me repeat it again. Give the Tampa Bay sports fan, Mr. Manfred, what they've always needed and wanted, a ownership that cares about the fans in this community, that will do whatever it takes to win and win at all cost, much like the ownerships that already exist with the Tampa Bay Lightning. with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to endear themselves to baseball fans in the Tampa Bay area, provide hope instead of destroying it at every turn. It doesn't matter if you build the new stadium in St. Pete, Tampa, or Timbuktu. If your ownership is as poor as this, then it will not succeed. It will not succeed. I've always said the Raise Up story is like a superhero movie from Marvel. You get tired of the same story, and eventually you want a conclusion to it. Hang in there, Rays fans. The end game is coming. So give me your thoughts on it. There were comments out there. We don't just talk Bucs on this show. We talk Tampa Bay Rays because we're right around the corner from it. Although you have to tell Japan over there with the Cubs and the Dodgers that Major League Baseball season has started, which I really don't understand again. What is Major League Baseball doing? 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Thank you very much to the super chat right there from the Green Queen herself, $9.99. Get well soon. Thank you very much. So we will talk Bucs, we will talk Rays, and of course, Turnbuckle talk with Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast. John Cena turns heel. What, 3 million views? Did you watch it? I didn't get a chance to watch it because guess what? I forgot that it was on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I did see the highlights of that. So we'll definitely take your phone call. So without further ado, let's go out to this guy right here. Let's go out to Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. And I will start there because you know that I'm passionate about the Tampa Bay Rays. We talked offline about this. Are you a baseball fan? Are you a Tampa Bay Rays fan? And what do you think of this ownership? Welcome to the evolution.
So obviously being in Massachusetts, the Red Sox, the Sox are near and dear to my heart. But I've grown to like the Rays, even though they're in the same division. Me and the wife, when we were in St. Pete on vacation, we went to go see a Rays game. Unfortunately, she almost got hit in the head with a foul ball by Wander Franco. But we're not going to get into him.
Let's not.
Yeah, it was a good thing we didn't hold on to the baseball as well because she could have grabbed it. She could have grabbed it.
Right.
And I was upset with her at the time. I was like, you should have just grabbed it. She's like, I'm not going to risk my face. I was like, you could have put your hand up. But the whole situation, like, as far as the Rays go, I do root for the Rays. I like the Rays. Here's the thing with that situation, just watching it from afar, it's so embarrassing. Like, if I was a Rays fan, I'd be so embarrassed with the ownership there. Just sell the team. Sell the team. It's just sell the team because clearly you don't care about the team. Anybody, any ownership, like you said it perfect. The Glazers, the Lightning, you know, they put the fans first. They put the team first. They put a good product out there. You know, the Rays have been somewhat competitive, and it's just like they deserve a stadium. Like I heard about the Ybor City situation. I thought that would have been perfect for them in Ybor City. I've been to Ybor City a few times. I love it. I thought that would have been perfect. But to sit there, it's it's such a mess. It's just sell the team. Just sell the team. He's not. I don't really like the guy. He's not a very good owner. And you know, people are not going to games not because of the product. People are not going to games because they don't. I feel like they don't want to support the owner. Like if you look at the Red Sox weren't very good for a little bit, but that stadium is still packed. Like I still go. I still go to the games.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to put my 2 cents into it too much because I feel like I don't have that right because I'm not really
every right on this show, my friend, because
I
again,
know.
you're part of the evolution of sports talk television. As we always say, their little new display that I finally got up. Hopefully you guys like that. In fact, I don't even have to put up the banner right there because here's the phone number. Right? So the phone number is right there, 727-255-0391 on this show, my friend. You always have a right to say what you want to say. And if you agree, you disagree with me, that's okay. That's the great thing about the sport.
Again, the ownership there, it's a travesty because they like the team is competitive, and I feel like this guy is holding this team hostage almost. I really do. I feel like the team's holding I feel like he's holding the team hostage, and it's just I don't know. It's an embarrassing situation, and you know, unfortunately, it is what it is, and we just got to let it play out. But I mean, it's getting to the point now where it's just like, let's do something here. Even me, like I wasn't really too intrigued about it, but now like listening to everything that's kind of going on, it's just like, man, just sell the team because clearly
Yes.
you're not fit to be an owner. And I think one of the stupidest things I've heard about the situation was he wanted to play in Montreal and in Tampa. What is that? What
Yes.
is wrong with you?
Yes. Yes.
Like, did you eat an edible that day when you came up with that idea? Like, what makes you think in any universe that that would work?
Right.
Like, no, they're the Tampa Bay Rays. They're not the Montreal Rays. They're the
Mm,
Tampa Bay Rays. To sit there and be like, "Oh, we're gonna do a split." No, man. That right there is it's kind of like getting like when you start talking to a girl and there's like a couple of red flags. That's a red flag that this guy needs to sell the team. He needs to sell the team. He clearly, I feel like he doesn't want the team in Tampa, and he maybe I don't know. I hear rumbles that they want a team in Las Vegas, but then they moved the Oakland A's to Las Vegas. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe they want baseball back in Montreal. I don't know, but this guy is not fit to be an owner, in my opinion. He
no.
needs to just sell the team. It's see, I'm getting a little upset thinking about it now because it's just it's so unnecessary. He dropped the ball on the whole Ebor deal as well. So
Yes. Well, and then there was talk here, and we'll have JP Peterson on here in just a little bit. His reception is bad there in Orlando. Surprise, surprise. You got to love Wi-Fi and situation, especially.
what do I
when
always say, Peter?
yeah,
Technology is amazing when it works. It's terrible when it doesn't.
it is absolutely. I agree with that. So I just sent him the link. So we'll try to get him on here, get his stadium take, because he's the one that's had it from the very get-go. He said that he believed that this deal was going to get done. It was not going to get done in St. Pete. It would get done in Tampa, and that there were investors, and now there are reportedly 3 separate groups out there. One of those led by Eddie DeBartolo, being a part of that, and an elite Tampa business group that is looking to buy them. And you know, if I'm a politician, whether it's in Pinellas County or in Tampa, I don't trust Stu. I don't,
No.
because they approved the bonds. They gave him the money. They're giving him what? $700 or $700.
He keeps backtracking. It's like it's
$700 million. Yeah, $700. That's what his word is worth at this point. $700 million, and or he has to come up with 6, or he has to come up with $700 million. The county gave him $600 million, and he's not able to come up with it. And now the idea has been thrown out there that he's going to he wants to renovate the Trop. The Tampa Bay Rays revealed a $600 million renovation plan for their outdated stadium, and they would stay in St. Pete until 2038.
38. Yeah, I heard that.
The money would come evenly from 3 parties: the Tampa Bay Rays, St. Pete, and Pinellas County, contributing $200 million each. New features would update the 35-year-old facility. By the way, he has banged the table. He has said, along with everybody that's a part of this ownership group, that the Trop is outdated. It won't work. I can't sustain. I can't do this. I can't do that. I hope Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred force him to sell. So, guys, we could definitely talk about that. Let's go out to the comments, and then we'll get into this Bucs talk here with Bucs David having some great comments, talking to the media yesterday, and then their new linebacker Walker from the Dolphins, which you find out that Bucs David was responsible for suggesting. Of course, it was a flip there with Walker going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in return for KJ Britt, which was terrible to say the least. And Anthony, I think I said, Anthony Walker Jr. also talked to the media. Yes.
That's definitely going to have some impact on some draft implications too, I believe.
You think so?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's talk more about this. Let's go out to Tim here. Good evening, Peter. Good evening to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put the scroll line because I already see a problem right there. Let's go out to Joy here. Hi. How you doing, Joy? Thanks a lot for tuning in to the Evolution. You know I'm right. Christopher Cole, I think Tesla stock is privately owned. Christopher Cole, yes, and these people are so rich now. Again, just throwing it out there. I posted that my Tesla getting fixed, a thank you to a business, and I could not believe the disgusting comments, just the
it's
victory.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. I was listening to what you were saying with the political stuff. I agree 120%, man. At the end of the day, And I don't like talking politics. I work construction. I'm in a union, so that's what they do. They talk politics. Oh, you got to do this. You got to listen. At the end of the day, you are responsible for your own life. Yes, it's good to be informed on what's going on, but at the end of the day, you create your own reality. When you wake up in the morning, you go
Yeah.
out and set goals, and you have to navigate around the obstacles. And I don't depend on any politicians to help me out because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm the only one that can create and bring home and do what I need to do to support my family. And it's the political stuff is so out of control. I don't like you because of this guy. I don't like you because you vote. That
Mhm.
is insane. Stop.
Yes. Yes.
Stop.
Yes. Yes. It is. It's insane. To not even know somebody and be threatened and say,
It's
you're this, you're that, you're a piece of. I'm
yeah.
posting about a business, and I didn't want to make the whole show about this, but I was taken back. I couldn't believe it. And I get it. Social media is not for everyone, and I
No.
understand it. There's positives to it, but that to me is over the line when
And
somebody
we're just
wishes.
talking about a car.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was just talking about a car. And it's just like
Yes.
we've come to the day and age, and I don't want to waste any more time on it because it's so dumb. I feel like
Yes.
like this is dumbing people down. Like we're at an
Yes.
age now. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you drive a Tesla, you support Elon. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who
Thank
cares,
you.
man? Like
Yeah.
it's just it is what it is. Oh, you have a problem with your Tesla? Oh, see, it's because Elon. Like, who cares?
You should have
Like
bought it. You should have bought a
yeah,
petrol. You should have bought a gas. I'm like,
it's
listen,
like
I'm doing Uber. Okay. It's
yeah.
not going to work out for me. They're putting
It
50
I
$60 in
believe
gas.
me, I've had these conversations with people, same thing, like, I've my favorite brand of car is Cadillac, and
Mhm.
people always say, "Oh, that's too high-end and they're expensive." No, listen, I it's what I like to drive. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with anything, like, who cares? Like, I just got rid of an ATS for an Escalade, and I waste even more gas, but you know what? It's smiles for the what do they say? Smiles per gallon?
That's
It's what
it.
I like to drive, and
Thank
for
you.
this day and age, for people to sit there and literally say, "You're a piece of S because you drive a Tesla and you're supporting this guy."
I got called a douche. I got somebody from South Africa. He said, "I'm from South Africa. I'm from over here, and I'm come to America, and it's my right to call you a douche." And I'm like, "Okay, man,
Hey,
whatever whatever makes you
welcome
feel
to
better."
America, I guess. That's what
Yeah, I mean, every people
it's
complain, but they have all this social media power to say what they want to say. Which sports fans, you can do that
yeah.
Monday and Wednesday nights here at 8 o'clock.
I'm gonna be
Hopefully,
renting a Tesla because 'cause we're going to, Nashville, Tennessee for my girlfriend's birthday. She wants to
mhm.
spend, her birthday out in Tennessee, Nashville, and I'm gonna be renting a Tesla. I've never driven one. I'm curious to see how it is. Self-driving, that's awesome.
Yes. Well, I've never self drove before. I mean, if I'm
I don't
gonna
know
drive,
if I trust it, but I
right.
mean, I'm willing to give it a shot.
All right, I'm right, Christopher Cole. That's the reason why I have a foot in working for Publix for a day. Private stock is valuable. Absolutely, it is.
Oh,
Let's go
yeah!
out to Tim here. Very clear to me that Stu is the issue. 0 for 4 isn't a very good batting average. It's not. He is the issue. He's always been the issue. He'll continue to be the issue. And the Rays will never do anything, go anywhere, get anything done with this ownership, period. They're not going to win a World Series. They're going to let talent go out the door. They've done it throughout the years. Show me
They've
what
done
you
it
do in the
before.
past.
Yeah.
They've done it before. So good stuff there, Tim. Appreciate the comment. I saw 3 Teslas on the way to my doctor's appointment yesterday. Carl says he should definitely sell the team. And Tim says the ball is clearly in Major League Baseball's court. Stu is never going to do the right thing. He doesn't even know what the right thing to do is. Agreeing, Christopher Cole. Stu wants to sell the Rays for more than it's worth. Shocking developments by Stu. Exactly. All right. Speaking of shocking developments here, we talked about it. We thought that Levante David re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wasn't really a shock. But him talking to the media. Did you watch the press conference? What did you get out of that? Once again, the ageless wonder, Levante David, returning to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 1-year deal.
I mean, I've talked about this, and I said I expect him to come back. I think he's just kind of waiting to see what the Buccaneers are going to do. I think, obviously, I mean, being if I was Levante David, I would want hey, you want me back? This is kind of what I want. Like, I wouldn't be. I don't take Levante as a very demanding guy, but I think maybe he kind of threw out some ideas for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and say, hey, I want this guy here. And I think that's why you've seen the signing that you've seen. And I think he believes in this team. I believe in this team. I honestly like really nothing really much has changed from this team in the offseason. They got back Godwin. The offense is still the same. They have to retool that defense a little bit. But then again, the defense was hurt a lot last year. They never played like that whole secondary, I think, played a total combined 4 games together, 2 or 4 games.
Yeah.
So it's unfair to sit here to say, like, I hear a lot from other places. It's Todd Bowles' fault. No, it's not, man. Like the cards that he was dealt, there was a lot of issues like injuries and not being 100%. And Devin White, which was basically Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles' first legitimate draft pick, didn't turn out the way they wanted it. That threw a monkey wrench into a lot of things. So Levante is forced to play with a guy like KJ Britt, which I'm not taking nothing away. I like the intensity that he brings to the field. He just can't cover.
Mhm.
And I think Levante, one of his demands was, hey, if you want me to come back, I want so and so. I want this guy, or like, you got to give me somebody. Excuse me. So I just think that from what I caught a couple of like glimpses of his press conference, and I
Mhm.
really didn't feel like I needed to watch it just because I know what Levante wants to do. He believes in this team, and he's such a Buccaneer first. He believes in this team. I believe in this team. I think he believes that this team has a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl. Now, there's one thing I do want to say. I don't know if you checked the odds. Have you checked the Super Bowl odds for the Buccaneers this year?
They're probably low, and they're probably listening to Colin Cowherd, which we'll get back to in a moment because Colin Cowherd thinks the Bucs are old. By the way, thanks a lot for doing your research, Cowherd. They are the second youngest team last year in the National Football League, and just because they returned all their offense, that's a good thing. He said it's not necessarily a good thing and isn't always a good thing. By the way, the Bucs have done this before when they returned their offense, and they did pretty well. In fact, Tom Brady, his second year was probably better. No, probably about it. Statistically, was better than his first year, and they returned all their starters at that point. But
I
he
will
old.
I will say this with Tom
Yes.
Brady, that second year.
Mm.
So being in Massachusetts, unfortunately, I've had uh, the honor, if you will, watching the Patriots and watching him play every year. Um, that second year that he had with the Buccaneers, I would honor, I'm willing to debate with anybody. I'm willing to debate with anybody. Feel free to call in. You know the number.
Yes.
I'm willing to debate with anybody. That second year of Tom Brady with the Buccaneers was probably his best year as a football player.
Mm-hmm.
I get people are going to say, well, the undefeated season. Yeah, but they lost the Super Bowl. Statistic wise, anybody wants to look up the statistics, go look up that year with that second year with the Buccaneers. He absolutely destroyed that year. And I still say the better team did not win. Like, I feel like, unfortunately, we had a blown coverage. I still think the Buccaneers would have went to the Super Bowl. They would have repeated. I honestly do, because nobody was stopping that offense.
No.
But outside of like that Randy Moss year that he had, I still think that second year he had with the Buccaneers, I still think that was probably his best year as a player. Just
Well,
saying.
I tell you right now, with all the weapons that he had on that team, of course, you had Evans and Godwin, and I
He
believe
was on a
Godwin.
tear.
Yes, 97 catches. Excuse me, and he gets hurt. I don't
I
know what
feel
he
you with
has.
the allergies. We
It's
got him up here too,
it's
man.
what it is. It's the allergies for me. It's still the allergies, so you have to work with me. I'm sorry about that. If you hear some congestion, I'm trying to work my way through this. Hopefully, we're able to get rid of it. But you had, of course, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin gets hurt, Tristan Wirfs gets hurt. And I think that's where the hatred stems from with this Buccaneer fan base, in that you're not able to get there with that blitz from Sue. One split second, you get there against Stafford. Maybe you get the sack, of course. Blown coverage. It looks like Antoine Winfield Jr. on the blown coverage, 101 against Cooper Kupp, who, by the way, moved on to Seattle. Thank God for that. Let's see if he could stay healthy. But he was a Buck killer, has been a Bucks killer ever since he's came into the league. And that day especially, I agree with you on that. If they're able to get past the Rams, most likely they're in the Super Bowl and they win a second straight Super Bowl. And we're talking about back-to-back Super Bowls with Tom Brady, that offense. But just everything that year that transpired.
That one hurt that year.
Yes.
That one hurt. And there was a few factors too with Antonio Brown. If I feel like if he would have had his ego in check, I honestly do think the Buccaneers would have taken care of him. I honestly do think they would have gave him another year or 2 years. I think they would have paid him because they would to bring back another title, you know, that kind of played a factor in it too. But like I
Mhm.
said, I'm willing to debate with anybody. I'm gonna pull up the statistics. I'm telling you right now, that second year that Brady had with the Bucks
Mhm.
was just probably his best year. I argue with this with the wife all the time. No way, no. I'm telling you, the stats don't lie. It was just incredible. And if they would have went to the Super Bowl to play the Bengals, I'm telling you, they would have steamrolled them.
They most likely would have. It would have been a good game. I definitely think they would have beaten the San Francisco, or they would have beaten the San Francisco 49ers, who they would have
I think
faced
so.
here in the NFC Championship game here. But that's the question. One of the questions of the night. Where were you 5 years ago to Monday, last Monday here, just a couple days ago, when Tom Brady signed? What were you feeling? Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You know where I was. I was on Bucs Report. I was going live. It took me about 2 minutes. I couldn't believe the news. I heard it all day long. I did a radio appearance that day saying, what would it be like? And I said, you know what? I'm buying into the idea, because at first I wanted to bring back Jameis Winston and I thought they had the team. But then you got Tom Brady, and then you know what he brings, and eventually you get Gronk, and you get Fournette, and you get Antonio Brown, and it's Super Bowl or bust. And I said, I think it was like a couple of weeks later when they made the trade for Gronk. Okay, now it's Super Bowl or bust. Now they're bringing back everybody. Now they're going for it. And it was just a fun year, doing 5 days a week for BR and being on the sports web, and just, the excitement and the up and downs and how they were 7-5. But I definitely remember where I was. I couldn't believe the news. It was like 7:25, and the phone would not stop ringing. And at the time, we were on the old phone line. We're not on a regular phone. I think we were like on the computer, and it just kept on going off. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it they just Skype. We used to do Skype, and
Yeah.
and it was kept on going off, and I was like, oh my gosh, people want to talk about it. And I just remember people just being excited. And I felt like, if COVID, if the pandemic wasn't going on, it would have been so much more excitement. I think you missed out on that. A lot of fans missed out on that, but it was just an unbelievable time. Now, going back to Levante David, he likes the linebacker room with, of course, Savasier Dennis. You always say his name different, but it's Savasier Dennis. And then, of course, the
I know. I
team.
say Sabasio. I don't know why.
That's funny. The team added Dolphins veteran linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. David believes former Jets linebacker Hassan Reddick, a free agent signee, will have a big impact on the pass rush. He also thanked the Bucs front office and light for rewarding veteran players such as Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and himself with contract extensions that may enable them to play with the entire career with one franchise. And this is the thing that we focused on and we've talked about, that I think Bucs fans should not take for granted. And it's the reason why you get excited about Reddick signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because we know that he's hungry. We know that he's a proven pass rusher. And if he takes care of business, Jason Light will take care of your business. This is what David had to say. I think it's incredible, man. I don't know if that's talked about enough. The Bucs have been loyal to their guys. A lot of organizations aren't like that. I think it's a testament from the ownership all the way down. They want their guys, they believe in their guys, and they're going to stick with us. I think for the young guys to see that gives them even more motivation. Your thoughts, because he's absolutely right on with it. And this, once again, is one of your captains, one of your team leaders. And when you see a player like this who possibly could be in the Hall of Fame, I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one of these days, say this kind of stuff, once again, Tampa Bay becomes a destination.
He was right on with what he said and it does not get emphasized enough that like a lot of people are like, well, you guys only give out 1 year. Well, they say you guys like it's me. The Buccaneers franchise, they only give out 1 year contracts. No, they take care of guys. Like, just ask Shaq Barrett. Like, you come here on a 1 year prove it deal and you prove it, they will pay you. Look at Mike Evans. Look at Chris Godwin. Look at Antoine Winfield Jr., Baker Mayfield. All these guys get paid. Tom Brady, look at the incentives they gave him. If like I think they're one of the only franchises that really does that, where they really load up the contract with incentives.
Hmm.
So I I don't tend to listen to the outside noise. I tend like when there's stuff going on with the Buccaneers, I tend to listen to the captains, Baker, Mike, Chris, Levante. And like I said, I'm excited for this year. And
Hmm?
his comments, like I said, I think going back to what with they put the poll out there for the Super Bowl odds. We're tied. You know, we're tied with the Bears. I think it's like a 16-1 chance of winning. We're tied with the
62
Bears.
to one.
I could be wrong. If you, I'll see if I can look it up.
Yeah, look that
But
up for me because I know that we would have one of our co-hosts on this show, Harry the Greek, would be interested in those betting odds. And to me, I think it's a good bet to bet on the Bucs to do better than what Vegas is saying because they've been able to do that the last couple of years. And once again, the social media, the people out there, the national media would be down on this team. And I would say, again, favor the Atlanta Falcons, favor the Saints, favor the Panthers. I don't think anybody's favoring the Panthers, but go ahead. Just discount the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and just once again watch them go to work as they've done with Todd Bowles.
I work with a Falcons fan.
Okay.
Today I was working with him.
Okay.
And we were talking about this. I said, look at me in my face right now and tell me that the Falcons are better than the Buccaneers right now. And he just looked at me. I said, go ahead, tell me. Let me hear this bull spit. Let me hear it. And he goes, and he's like, you know what, man? I can't even lie. No, you guys are better.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't even know why the media be hating on you guys like this. I said, I don't know either. It's crazy.
Right.
So those odds, again, they're meaningless to me because I think this is the team. Again, if you go back and you listen to Levante David's comments, I've heard Levante be extremely confident, but there's something about this year coming up. I think last year I said the offense carried the team. I honestly think secretly this defense is really going to show up, and I think they're going to be a top tier defense this year. I really do.
I like the way you think, and I think Reddick is definitely going to be a big part of that because he is hungry. He wants to earn that contract. The pass rush is going to be better. The linebacking situation is going to be better. And because Jason Light and this organization with their scouts are going to be able to infuse talent with this draft coming up. Now, this from Joe Bucks fan, our friends there, because we've had Ira Kaufman a couple of weeks ago.
Love Ira.
They were in this, love him too. Got to get him back on the show. Anthony Walker Jr. talked to the media in the Zoom today. He says, I know Levante pretty much most of my life. Being from Miami, actually one of his close friends. I played football with his little brother, so I was just always around. Once I made the NFL, that kind of let me get into the group, the older group, to hang with the cool kids. I guess, we trained together every offseason, like my third year in the NFL. Obviously a mentor of mine, a guy that I learned from, tried to model my game after, and just a very good friend of mine. Joe Bucks fan asked the question, do you feel like he's a part of the reason that you're here? Maybe that connection or speaking up for you. He said, yeah, a huge reason. Obviously, the respect that he has in Tampa on this team and the city, everywhere he's been, he's touched a lot of lives. And for him to help him get here is amazing as well. Obviously, a chance to be teammates would be pretty dope. And I've kept telling him that. He said one day he was going to make it happen. And we've been trying to get this done since I was getting drafted in 2017. But, finally, I'm able to get it done. Walker, of course, 83 starts in 8 seasons, covering time with the Colts, Browns, and Dolphins, including 8 starts and 14 games played for Miami last season. So we'll see how this works out. I got to go out to this guy because he's on right now. Let's go out to him. Let's see what he's got. Of course, the great JP Peterson, the JP Peterson Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And he's been the man on the spot from the very beginning when it comes to this stadium situation. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Peter? I apologize. I'm trying to find my way home on my app here. And my connectivity has not been good. I was hoping to do this from our post-game golf tournament. But anyway, here I am. I'm here. And good to be in. What's up, brother?
Well, what's up with this stadium situation, the shenanigans, if you will, say that 3 times, stadium shenanigans by Stu Sternberg. How many S's can he get into that sentence? Of course, S's would be exactly what Stu wants. That would be money. And this is the reason why this stadium deal didn't come to fruition, as you predicted on your show many times, that it was a boondoggle, as you would say. And certainly it turned out that way, right?
Oh, absolutely. From the very beginning, and when you were on with me, Peter, we said this. Like I said, this deal's not going to go through. He's not going to pay $700 million plus cost overruns. This is a guy that wouldn't even pay 150 million for the deal in Tampa. There's like no way. This was a land grab from the very beginning. He played St. Pete the way he played Hillsborough County back in 2018. It's the same hit and run playbook that he did, and in my opinion, he never intended to build that stadium. And when it came down to it, all the bonds were passed, right? All the
Mhm.
bonds were passed. He had all the public money he could ever want, and he still didn't do the deal. So what does that tell you? He was never going to build a stadium in the first place. He didn't have the money. He was just hoping, because if the Pinellas County Commission or the city would not have approved the bonds, he set up the deal in a very clever way that if they didn't approve the bonds, that he could get the redevelopment rights or get the real estate rights for that 66 acres worth well over $1 billion for $50 million up front, and then 50 million in another 10 years. So he had, in my opinion, that was the plan, right? To make a whole hell of a lot of money, because look, he got everything he wanted and he still didn't go through with the deal. So that tells me it was a land grab from the very beginning. He never intended to build that stadium.
Now you hear reports of this. I know you had a good laugh, and I couldn't believe it. I was ready to rip my beard off and rip my hair out of my head. People talk about this. The Tampa Bay Rays revealed $600 million renovation plan where they would stay at Tropicana until 2038. All we've heard from this ownership, including Mr. Sternberg, is how the Trop won't work, this won't work. And now,
Not gonna
once
work.
again, he's changing his tune. And we got Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast on with us, JP. That's what you're hearing in the
What's
background.
up, Louie? How are you, partner?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
This is the great JP Peterson there. Finally, there you are, my friend. Be careful.
Yeah.
Watch the road. Hopefully you're not driving a Tesla like I am, because online they want to burn it down. They want you to be in it while they burn it down. With that being said, I hate this deal. I hate that this came out, that this was leaked, that they want to stay the Tropicana. I mean, what do you make of this? This is nonsense. Once again, how can Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred not step in and say, listen, you need to sell the team. It's time to stop screwing around with this.
Well, listen, this latest idea, like the Montreal idea, was the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, are you serious? We're going to build two separate communities out of hundreds of millions of dollars to build stadiums for us while we pay nothing, and then we'll get ticket revenue from both. Like, the players union was never going to go along with that, as we said from the very beginning. That was a joke. This latest proposal, it's not worse than that, but it's pretty bad. So, hey, county, give us 200 million. City, give us 200 million. We'll throw in 2 million. Like, really? Probably not. He'll take the naming rights and make more money on it, right? So he was never going to put in 200 million on that. And then we get to go back to Tropicana Field, like greater than it's ever been. We'll put 600. We'll put more lipstick on this pig. It's still the same location. 80% of the market can't get to it Monday through Friday. Well, who cares? That deal benefited nobody but Stu. What black?
And I think we lost you there. I think
The rest of the people that wanted.
Oh, there he is.
There you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the black community would not have benefited from that because they wouldn't have redeveloped the Trop site. None of the hundreds of millions of dollars that would have been spent in redeveloping the site would have been realized. It just benefits Stu because he would have stayed in Tropicana Field for no rent, had a low payroll, and made hundreds of millions of dollars like he's been doing. So once again, a proposal that benefited nobody but himself. And thankfully, Mayor Welsh said, "Yeah, thanks, but no thanks." The county's like, Chris Walafala, county commissioner, is like, "No, thank you. Nobody's interested in that." And the whole arrogance of this group, that even after they said, we spent, I know you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on consultants and engineers and lawyers to put this whole deal together, and you gave us over $2.4 billion of public money to get the deal done, but we're still not going to do it sorry that you spent all that money. We just, the numbers don't work for us. And, oh, sorry, just not going to do it. Like, what? Like you could just walk away from that. And then you go on the radio and say, we all need to just take a breath and let the emotions calm down. Screw you. Are you kidding me? You've been jacking us around for 15, 20 years. Your time is done. We have people waiting in the wings that are rooted in Tampa Bay, that have hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to spend on a new stadium, buy the team, make an entertainment complex, make something that's going to be awesome in Tampa that everybody can get to. They're going to be able to redevelop the Trop site with a convention center that will be awesome for St. Pete. And one person continues to hold all of this up and say, we'll just take a breath. We have 4 years to figure it out. I don't.
Yeah. And Mayor Welch had this to say, if in the coming months, a new owner,
done with it.
Yeah. If in the coming months, a new owner who demonstrates a commitment to honoring their agreements and our community priorities emerges, we will consider a partnership to keep baseball in St. Pete. What's the latest on this situation? Because you had it covered. We talked about this 6 months ago where there were rumors that there was some sale and then it fell through. And now you hear there's 3 other groups here. So what's going on? Elite Tampa businessmen taking this deal to Tampa. Pinch me. Is this really going to happen? And if it does, listen, man, you know me. I'm not a big time partier, but I'll have some shots with you. I will party like it's 1999, my friend. Is this happening?
Listen, it's up to Stu. He's got to sell the team. It's up to Major League Baseball. They've got to force him to sell the team, just like they did Namoli back in 2004 to Stu. I mean, it was the same situation. Major League Baseball has the ability to pressure these owners to sell the team. Nobody wants to work with him in Tampa in terms of the political people there. Nobody wants to work with him in St. Pete. He's got no place to go to build here locally. Nobody wants to work with him. No investors want to invest because they don't trust him. He's cornered. He's got to sell the team. And Major League Baseball's got to make him sell the team so we can move on. I mean, one person's holding up all this redevelopment in both cities, and he's also holding up expansion in Major League Baseball. So all the other owners who want to get all this expansion revenue, they got to wait until Tampa gets a stadium and wait on Stu. We've got 3 groups waiting in the wings with billions of dollars to spend, and they're going to overpay Stu Sternberg for what that team is worth by probably 30 or 40%. And he's still not going to do it? Like, he's still going to hold everything up? How is this even allowed? Like, one person is going to hold up all of this? It's ridiculous. Major League Baseball has got to make this happen and happen soon.
Do you think the reason why we're on with JP Peterson of the JP Peterson Show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Of course, I'm being his executive producer, even though I'm not co-hosting with him. I'm still on there. Trust me, still part of it. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast, talking to the great JP Peterson, who once again had it from the very get-go. Understand that radio stations, TV stations, he had it first. Just saying.
Thank you, Peter.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it.
Major League Baseball, why do you think they're forcing him to sell? Is it because of, once again, the shenanigans of not spending money, spending less than a lot of Major League Baseball teams? Is it the fact of the revenue sharing by the big market teams where, Stu is acting like a poverty princess, if you will, treating the Rays as if they're a welfare act? Or is it the fact that there was a lawsuit just a couple years ago from his minority owners saying he put money aside and he really has a lot more money than what he's saying? Why is Major League Baseball forcing him to sell the Rays, in your opinion?
All of that. They're done with him. They finally realized what I've been telling them for probably 6 to 7 years, that Stu Sternberg is not an honest dealer. He's been screwing all the other owners out of this revenue sharing money, because had he done the deal in Tampa in 2018, he wouldn't have needed revenue sharing money. That stadium would have been built. They would have had plenty. It's the 10th, 11th largest market in America.
Yep.
They should not be getting revenue sharing dollars. They don't need them. This market is big enough to sustain itself. We got markets 35, 40 that are sustaining themselves. Why is market 11 not sustaining itself? Because Stu Sternberg's been screwing over the other owners because he hasn't marketed his team. He didn't build a stadium in Tampa proper where he would be able to make the revenue to not need revenue sharing. So finally, these other owners, Major League Baseball has finally understands that Sternberg's been screwing them out of the money for a decade now, and they want it over with. And by the way, all these people that keep saying, oh, he's just going to sell it and move it. You can't move the stadium. You can't move the team unilaterally. You have to have 2/3 vote of the other owners who are in no mood to grant him that to move to another city. They're at war with him right now. So that's not going to happen. He can't move the team.
Yeah, you can't move the team. And on top of it, again, you got the 11th largest media market here. I believe if you had an owner like Jeff Finnick, or you had the Glazers who are going all in, spending, doing everything they can not to piss off the fan base, you would have more people show up no matter what location. But
absolutely.
Is it looking like it's going to be in Tampa? Is it going to be the Fairgrounds, West Shore? Ybor? What's your hunch on this? And who do you think the most likely, because I know you got some insight here. Give me a little insight. Who do you think the most likely group that's going to buy the Rays here? And when do you think this is going to eventually happen?
Well, I think there are 3 separate groups right now. And I think Major League Baseball is going to cherry pick the best investors of all these different groups and kind of bring them together as one under one managing general partner. I don't know who that's going to be. But I know a lot of the names that are involved, and they're big time names in Tampa Bay, Tampa elite businessmen that will carry the favor of the public in order to give them public money. They'll be like, oh yes, these people have deep pockets. They're going to invest. They're not like some chintzy cheap owner from the Northeast that is counting his pennies, won't spend money on payroll. These people have real money. They're real players. They're Tampa Bay based. And yes, we'd be happy to partner with them in a city, county, private partnership that makes sense for everybody. No new taxes. Everything is user based. And that's the way it's going to go. And because that's what, if you follow the money, these people want to invest because they're going to make gazillions of dollars in a huge entertainment district with a baseball stadium as an anchor. They can build as I've been told on my show from Carter McCain, they can build a sphere type of amphitheater. It's an entertainment district, real estate developing play with baseball as part of it. It's not just about baseball. And we have at least two groups willing to do it. And this guy wants to sit around and say, oh, well, let's take a deep breath and wait 4 years and we'll do something. No, your time is done. Let's move on with people that can actually get this done. They care about Tampa Bay.
You're over in the Orlando area. What are they saying over there? Because there's been, chatter, and it's the Orlando Dreamers. But to me, it's a pipe dream at this point for, Major League Baseball to even think about the Rays in Orlando. What are you hearing over there?
Listen, I told the people in Orlando, I've been through this with Stu. Okay. He's like a stripper. When you go there, you think they love you, right? They're going to give you their number, 1-800, call me. Just keep giving me money. Stu's whispering in their ear in Orlando. Oh, put up a bid and we'll make it happen and I'll move the team. You can't move the team. You're getting played like the stripper doesn't love you. All right, Orlando, put your money in your pocket and walk away. All right, you're getting played. It's the same thing. You understand? All these Orlando things just happen to pop up when Stu's negotiating with other people for a price. Did you notice that? He's trying to drive up the price. Yeah. Oh, I got people in Orlando that are looking at it. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's so trend. It's like all of his games are up. You're up. You got no outs. Sell the team. Take your $1.5 billion profit and just go away. Please.
Yes. All right. Let's talk Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. You were at the Chris Godwin press conference. Give me your initial thoughts of that. I had a great question about asking him why he took less, reportedly $22 million less to come back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Levante David speaks to the media yesterday. He talks about this organization and how they take care of their guys. Your initial thoughts from the Godwin press conference, David press conference, and overall what the Bucs have done in free agency.
Listen, I don't know if it's enough to win a Super Bowl, but I don't think Jason Light could handle this any better. You know, people go out and they want to get the new, fresh, different faces, splash signings. Listen, if you can get your guys at hometown discounts, it's still a salary cap league. You're killing it. You're killing it, right? And Jason Light is killing it. He's done so well with keeping his team. And I see, Colin Cowherd is talking about, the Bucs they're going to bring back the same offense, the same 11 guys. Well, that's not great. Are you a moron? They were fourth in the league in scoring, idiot. Continuity works on offense, you moron. Like, yes, of course they're going to bring people back. Would you rather go pay double for T. Higgins and bring him in instead of Chris Godwin? Like, no.
How's that
We
turning
know
out
what
for the
works
Bengals?
here. Yeah, exactly. We know what works here. Keep your guys that work in the system and continue to grow with the continuity. And you sign Hassan Reddick, who of the 5 players that have 50-plus sacks in the last 5 years, he's the only one that's not making $30 million a year. So we got him for $14 million for 1 year. And we're probably going to draft an edge rusher, a Mike Green, or one of these great edge rushers in the draft, and have two new edge rushers to tandem. Probably going to draft a corner in the second round, even though we got Bryce Hall. So we'll have a corner, an inside linebacker, and probably sign another guy. And this is exactly what we need. Continuity works in this league. So yes, we're bringing back the whole offense that was fourth in the league last year, and probably going to step it up to second or first. So yeah, Jason Light's doing exactly what he needs to do. Chris Godwin is a great culture guy, right? He blocks as a wide receiver. He gives his all. He's going to recover from the injury. He's great in third down situations, has great chemistry with Baker Mayfield. And that's what it's all about. Bro, you can go out and find the greatest athletes in the world, but chemistry, like knowing where a guy's going to go at the top of his route and how quickly he's going to get there and on third down or fourth down or whatever it is, that's so money in this league. You want continuity.
Well, and that's what the Bucs have been able to do over the last
Play
5
the game
Yes.
over a younger player that may be more athletic and doesn't have the same chemistry with the quarterback. I mean, I think the Bucs have done a fantastic job in this offseason, and they're not done. They've still got some more free agency. They've still got some more cap room they can work with, and they still have the draft. And by the way, Jason Light's been fucking nailing the draft for 3 years. So every year he brings in 3 or 4 guys that contribute year freaking one. And so if he does that this year, this is a Super Bowl team. It's a Super Bowl team. Now, do they have a Super Bowl coach? That's up for debate.
To be determined.
That's up for debate.
Well, and I think a lot of people's question is on Todd Bowles and can he get over the clock management situations? Can he get over being conservative? Can he be more aggressive? I think with the defensive personnel, you said edge rusher. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of mock drafts out there, and take him for what it's worth. But the kid from Alabama, Campbell, are you in favor of drafting him at 19? Okay.
I would like to have a more polished edge rusher than him, but he's a great athlete. He's got a lot of versatility. I would rather a more polished edge rusher that knows, like a Mike Green from Marshall, who knows the chess match that is edge rushing. You know, there's a mentality to it. So there's a couple other guys. The kid from Boston College, his name escapes me right now. Scott Reynolds.
Names are getting tougher and tougher, man. We said that every year. The names are getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of good edge rushers in the draft that you can get at 19. And I say flood the position. Bring in Hassan Reddick, have Yaya Diaby, draft the guy, flood the position. You can't have enough good edge rushers. And I think that'll make Jamel Dean better. That'll make Zion McCollum better. It's a good edge rush draft. Take one at 19. That's a physical freak. Absolutely love that. And I'm gonna say this: by the time we get to training camp and OTAs, after the draft and after free agency, this is a Super Bowl roster. It is a Super Bowl roster. It's good enough, in my opinion. And if it doesn't get done, then that's on the coaching staff.
All right.
I agree with that, man.
I completely agree with that because the expectations will absolutely be high. We would also ask the question tonight, where were you 5 years ago to Monday when officially Tom Brady signed? Where were you? Because I kind of remember you reporting on this story once again that Tom Brady was going to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So what were you doing? What was happening? Because I remember telling a lot of Bucs fans, could it be a Bill Parcells situation where he leaves them at the altar and until it's officially signed, you just never rule that out? So where were you when Tom Brady got signed?
I'll tell you exactly where I was. This is a great story. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
So first of all, let's recognize that I played golf with Bruce Arians and Rondé Barber at Palma Sia. This is all part of a public record, by the way, in my divorce case. You can look it up. That's a whole nother story. And so it's a great freaking story, by the way. So, and we had a few pops, and let's go back to the day after Jameis Winston threw the pick six in 2019 to seal his fate. And he went into the press conference and said, I'm balling. Check your sheet. And then I had talked to Bruce after that, and he was like, this kid's just not going to get it. I love Jameis. He's a great kid. He just doesn't understand. Like, we got to look behind door number 2. And I looked around the league and I had done this research beforehand. And because I knew Tom Brady. I had a tip from a friend of mine that covers the Patriots that Tom Brady was leaving the Patriots, that he was gone. And I looked around the league and I said, where's he going to go? And I looked around and I said, where better than Tampa Bay? Like, this team is ready to win a championship. The defense was good enough. The only reason they weren't in the playoffs because Jameis threw 31 interceptions or 30 interceptions. And I said, this is the team Tom Brady's going to come to. And the next day on my show, on that Monday, I said, I'm predicting right now that Tom Brady is coming to the Buccaneers. So subsequently to that, I played golf with Bruce and Rondé, and we had a few cocktails, and we were, shooting the shit. And I said, I'll make the case, because I already did this on my radio show, Bruce, and I know you weren't listening, that Tom Brady's coming to Tampa Bay. I think this is the best place for him. And Bruce looks at me and goes, I'll make the case that this is the best place for him. He said, Tom Brady, we're pitching it, and he's coming to Tampa Bay. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. So we reported it on the show that Tom Brady, and then I was actually literally skiing in Breckenridge, Colorado. This is a true story. I was on the top of the mountain in Breckenridge, Colorado, when I got a text message from a name that told me, because I'd asked them, I said, when you hear the Tom Brady deal is done, you got to text me so I can break the story. So he texted me and said, the deal is done. He's agreed to the deal. So then skis down the mountain, and I rushed down to my condo, which is on a ski run in Breckenridge. And I get there, and I open up my laptop, and I'm like literally going to break the story. I'm putting it on Twitter. You can go check the Twitter files. I was the first one to put it on Twitter that we are reporting Tom Brady is signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We broke the story, and I'll stand by that for the rest of my effing life. And I literally was on the top of the snow at 11,000 feet when I got that text message. And we went down, and then we did a whole show. We did a whole show about Tom Brady coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So yeah, that's where I was. That's how we report.
Great stuff as always, JP Peterson. We're losing signal there, but I'm going to go ahead and promote you, get you out of here, partner. Appreciate the time. Monday and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Can you hear me? You can hear? Okay, I see you right there. Go ahead and promote the show here, the JP Peterson Show here on the Sports Web. And I think we lost him. So, all right. So, JP, thanks a lot for the time, my friend. We appreciate you as always. We'll go ahead and get out to this right there. We'll get him out of there because we lost signal, but we appreciate it again. Tune in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the JP Peterson Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. He's got all kinds of sources, all kinds of stories. He talks to the people in the know, and he kind of breaks some stories. With that being said, a guy that was actually in that press conference with Jameis Winston, I know because he told me, and also he was also one of the people, according to Ozzy the Sports Junkie, that predicted Tom Brady to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, Mr. Leo Haggerty.
Book him, Dano.
Let's go out to Leo there. We'll start out with that, and then we'll talk about the Bucs, talk some March Madness, because it is March Madness basketball season here on a Happy Hump Day edition. But Leo Haggerty, where were you 5 years on Monday when Tom Brady officially signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Welcome to the Sports Club.
Let me tell you my story, guys.
Okay, tell it.
We're up in the press box, and you know Tom, who does the radio stuff afterwards, old Tom. And Winston is getting ready to throw the ball, and Tom goes, "Wouldn't it be funny if he threw and he couldn't get the pick six out fast enough?" Boom, gone. So in the press conference, people are beating around the bush. They're beating around the bush. Finally, last question, I look at Coach Arians. I said, "Coach, is Jameis fixable?" And that's what happened. No answer. He goes, "Well, we'll deal with that later on." And I turned to the guy and I said, "Oh, he's gone. They've moved on." You know, it was like 4 or 5 seconds of no words. Now, I go on with Ozzy the Sports Junkie about 2 weeks later, and I'm on with Doug down out of Sarasota.
Doug Fernandez.
Who's a huge Patriots fan, as you know.
Right.
And I said, "Why is Tom Brady not considered a possibility for the Bucs? This would be a perfect fit." And of course, Doug's going nuts. He said, "He's not leaving New England. He's not leaving New England." I said, "Well, I tell you what, somebody's leaving New England, either him or Belichick, but somebody's gone." And then all of a sudden, boom, this breaks. And I'm going, oh, this is amazing. But that's my story.
Well, and I think you were on with us that night. And I remember it took me about 5 minutes to get on, and I was hoping that all the sound, everything was matched up. And at the last minute there, Tom didn't have happy or have cold feet there and basically pull a Bill Parcells, but it all worked out in the end. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your initial thoughts on what they've done in free agency so far, Leo. I mean, again, you re-signed Levante David, Chris Godwin, Ben Bredesen, so you keep your offense together. Levante David talked about it yesterday, how he loves the fact the organization is keeping their own pieces around. And when you hear a leader and a guy most likely that will be in the Hall of Fame eventually talk about an organization so glowingly, I think a lot of players around the league kind of take notice.
Oh, absolutely. When you're not chopping your organization, absolutely people are taking notice, especially a guy who's been there double-digit years like Levante. Uh, Peter, again, what the Bucs have to do, and I said this the other day. They got to figure out, and I said this on Ralph's show yesterday. First thing you got to do is figure out how to win your division. Okay, you figure out you got to beat Atlanta, you got to beat New Orleans, and you got to beat Carolina. How are you going to do that?
Sure.
The second thing you need to do, because if you do that, you got a home game. And a home game, coaches that get home games in the playoffs don't get fired.
Right.
Guys that get away games, they can get fired because they're not bringing any money. The second thing you got to do is figure out how you're going to beat the Rams, how you're going to beat the Eagles, how you're going to beat the Lions. Forget about getting to the Super Bowl. How are you going to beat these people? Because those are the ones you're going to see down the road. And the thing you got to understand about the Buccaneers right now is they're trying to figure out how to get pressure on a quarterback. That's the biggest problem they've had. We can talk all about the secondary all you want, but if you don't get pressure on a quarterback, and if he can throw it where he wants to, when he wants to, and to whom he wants to, he's winning the game. And that's basically been the problem with the Bucs, is that quarterback is way too comfortable in the pocket.
Absolutely,
he's absolutely too comfortable.
Spot
Lou,
on.
you got a question?
He's spot on. I mean, I've been saying this. I said this all year. I said this is the Buccaneers are not going to compete in a Super Bowl if they can't sack the quarterback, because you tend to see who's winning the game, because the game is won in the trenches. You see that push up front, and a lot of people were complaining about, our corners, Jamel Dean, Zion No, if your front seven is not getting the proper pass rush, you're leaving your corners out there to dry, and they can only cover for so long until they get a pass interference. Like it's a mess. When the Buccaneers have to do a better job of pass rushing, and that was a big problem for them last year. But I think with the Hassan Reddick situation, I think they addressed that, and I think they're going to be a little bit better. I think the defense is going to be a little bit better. And to what piggyback to what JP said, they bringing back Godwin in our core. That's our core. So now it allows you to go out there into the draft and draft, these new faces to learn. That's why a guy like Jalen. Why do you think Jalen McMillan was so successful at the end of the year? Because he's surrounded by guys like Chris, surrounded by Mike, surrounded by Sterling Shepard, who can hype you up. But again, I can't argue with anything that Leo just said, because it's the truth. If you can't generate a pass rush, you're not winning a Super Bowl, hands down.
You know what, Peter? You and I know when we had Ron Jaworski on, and I asked him, Ron, what's the biggest fear a quarterback has? And he said, color in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at this Super Bowl. Carter and Davis forced Mahomes to look away from receivers and look at the rush.
Right.
Again, talk all you want about edge rushers, but if you can collapse that pocket in front of him, now he's got to look at it. It led to the interception with Baum, because you could see he's looking at the rush, trying to escape, and then when he comes up, he never sees Baum.
Nope.
And bang, that game's over right now, because now it's 24-0 at half.
Yeah, it's 24-0, and that's what it comes down to, getting that pressure, especially on a Patrick Mahomes, because we know when you get pressure on him from that Super Bowl 55 victory by the Bucs, 31-9, just mentioning it out there with Kansas City, the only touchdown they had was at TPA there with the Tampa International, or TIA, excuse me, TIA, Tampa International Airport. They got pressure, Shaq Barrett, JPP. Do you agree with JP? If you are Jason Light at this point, you can always change your response here in about a month when the draft is closer. But do you double dip? Do you go after an edge rusher or young guy to learn under a Reddick or Yaya Diaby? And with, the contract there being only 1 year, if Reddick doesn't work out, you have somebody waiting in the wings. Do you draft an edge rusher, Leo, at 19? Or do you go for the linebacker from Alabama? Or do you go for a corner, which some fans say, you know what, they should do that?
Best player available. And I'm going to take it even a step further. Best defensive player available.
Wow.
That's what they need to do. They need to look at their board and see what they got. Now, here's the interesting thing. They're at 19.
Yeah.
Say they've got 5 guys above 19 on their board, anywhere from like say 7 or 8 up to 16 or 17. Now you want to trade back to 24, 25. You're getting one of those guys, and you're adding a draft pick. I don't think the Bucs will move up, but I wouldn't be surprised if they move back.
I agree with that.
Especially if there's a run on offensive players, because there'll be a plethora of defensive players there. And again, tell all you want. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships.
Right.
Bottom line.
And it's not plethora, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, probably listening to the show in the background. It's plethora, and you're exactly right. And Jason Light has you've been known to trade back and pick up extra picks, and you'll be able to do that. He was able to do that. You pick up that extra 3rd-round pick, and what does it turn into? It turns into Jalen McMillan. That turned out very well. We're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scatter, now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here of the Sports Web, your Rolex reporter, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Open phone lines. I know I'm taking some calls here. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the comments here. Also talking Rays tonight. We'll get back to the Bucs in a moment. What are your thoughts on this Rays situation? Once again, a mess. I wrote a whole article on what I thought was the problem, what's always been the problem. It's Stu Sternberg, and now you hear reports of them wanting to renovate the Trop, ask the county or for $600 million, stay in St. Pete until 2038. I mean, are you ready to sell this team? If you're a Rays fan, do you want to see Stu sell this team to get a real owner in here like Jeff Vinnick of the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Glazers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What are your thoughts on this situation?
This may not be the answer you or anybody else needs to hear, but no. And here's why. The enemy you know is better than the enemy you don't know.
Right.
What if Stu sells this team? Okay? If it's to a group that wants to build a stadium in Tampa, you got to look. There's going to be lawyers galore looking at that stadium issue, because right now it's up to the city and the county in Pinellas and St. Pete. They've got to get that stadium up and running in the next 4 years. They got to get it up. But what you're looking at is, if that team gets sold, does that contract become null and void? And here's your problem. If I'm St. Pete and Stu sells it to somebody who wants to build in Tampa, what gives me the reason to upgrade or even fix the Trop? Just tear it down and make it renovated into residential, commercial, whatever. That's what scares me. And again, Peter, if someone buys this team, they're looking at $1 million loss. Because what if Steinbrenner doesn't want to let them play there next year? I think your option is Orlando. And nobody wants to see that. The only reason somebody's going to buy this team is to move it. Because right now, there's no incentive to buy it, because you're looking at playing at a stadium that seats anywhere from 10 to 12,000 people. You would get that just in Yankee and Red Sox fans alone showing up to the Trop. So, yeah, there's going to be – and, Peter, we need to talk about this too. Are you seeing the prices they're charging for opening day?
Well, yeah, it's ridiculous, and I know this guy wants to jump in here, so we'll get him in here. Just stand by. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Just stand by. I want to say this. They should be in the Trop by 2026, so we'll see how that works out. I don't think Orlando is a viable deal. And then furthermore, Leo, there's been talk of Major League Baseball trying to force Stu because they want to stay in the Tampa Bay area. So whomever buys it, and again, this is from J.P. Peterson, his sources, 3 different groups out there, especially wanting to keep it in Tampa. I'm ready to sell. I don't know about you. Let me go out to Tampa Bay. Ray Kennedy, give me your thoughts on the stadium situation. Welcome to the Evolution.
Guys, great show tonight, Peter. Great show. Good to hear from you, Leo. How you doing, brother?
Thank you. It's been
Hang it in there, Ray. How about you?
a plethora of a show here, Ray.
Plethora, yes. And here's the thing. I love that I've been listening on and off, and I got in the car and I put it on, and Leo's talking about the stadium. And I think the 3 owners, the 5 owners, Orlando, forget it, this, that, the other. They want to, they're going to try to put it on Mars, Space Link and whatever. The thing is that you're going to need a place to play in the short term. And some people say, it'll be a waste for St. Petersburg to spend that money. But I pose, if it's going to cost them $15 million a year anyway for contract, and it's the same amount between putting a new roof on Tropicana that we can still use another decade for conventions, for WWE, for stuff like that, and then they still have a place to play. There's no way City of St. Petersburg, we're not trying to get rid of a problem. We're not trying to pay $45 million so they'll go disappear. And the truth, in 3 years, they could win a World Series if Stu's a buyer. That might be, but that's tax dollars for St. Petersburg. Because at the end of the day, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, the reason why either county wants the team in their county is it's a very lucrative business.
I don't think it's going to happen, guys, because he's burned all kinds of bridges, whether it's Hillsborough County, whether it's Pinellas County. I mean, you hear Mayor Welch talk about it. He was one of his biggest proponents in his corner. He wants nothing to do with them. They just have such a bad taste in their mouth from, what happened. And listen, to their credit, to Pinellas County's credit and the commission dealing with the 2 catastrophic hurricanes, they've done everything they can to bend over backwards for Stu and the Rays. And basically Stu kicked him right in the teeth. And I don't blame the politicians for wanting new ownership. And I hope it happens because, again, I'm going to party like it's 1999. And you know me, guys, I'm not a big time partier. I'm not a big shots guy, but I'm definitely going to because I feel like the Tampa Bay sports fan, the Tampa Bay Rays fan deserves finally an ownership on par or better than Jeff Vinik. I don't know if you can get any better than Jeff Vinik or the Glazers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think they're going to be moving to Tampa. I think the deal with St. Pete, I love St. Pete, unless they come back to the table, unless there's a new ownership group at the end of the day. But they're going to be back in the Trop next year because the city's going to rebuild it. And then after that, of course, they're going to be here until 2028 because of the year lost there. So we'll see how that all plays out. Ray, I know you're on the line here. Leo, I got a question for you. What do we think of the linebacker signing here? Anthony Walker Jr., KJ Brake goes to the Dolphins, Anthony Walker Jr. And what we find out is that Levante David and him, they know each other here. In fact, Levante suggested it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it has to be a pretty good linebacker, right?
Well, there aren't bad linebackers in the NFL. Some are just better than others. And again, what do you want out of a linebacker? Again, Levante David is a downhill linebacker. He's not good in coverage, but he's not there to cover. He's there to play downhill. And that's something that he does extremely well.
Yeah.
I just want to see what happens with the Buccaneers when they finally decide who's playing where. I don't want to see Reddick in coverage ever. I want to see him heading straight.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with that. I don't want to see him in coverage. He is specifically there to rush the passer. I don't want to see Reddick in coverage. We've seen that with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. It's atrocious. We've seen that with Shaq Barrett. It's atrocious. These edge rushers need to rush the passer. They need to generate pressure on the quarterback because the Buccaneer defense is not feared because these quarterbacks have all the time in the world to throw the football. They need to generate the pass rush, these edge rushers do, because once you throw the timing off of routes with these receivers, you create havoc in the backfield. If you don't believe me, go back and watch that Super Bowl with the Buccaneers and Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to, Ray, the reason why they do a lot of the zone stuff, and we got fans out there, Jamie Lindsay being one of them, one of the big web heads, one of the big proponents of Todd Bowles not being a great coach, being fired. Sorry, once again, he's not fired here on March 19th of 2025. I hate the fact that defensive linemen, I just have to keep on mentioning the defensive linemen, they go out and play zone, linebackers play zone. I think a lot of that's done here, Ray, and we talked about this last year, because you don't get enough pressure. So somehow, some way you have to confuse the quarterback. Also, you don't necessarily have the pieces. The injuries last year mounted up. So Todd Bowles has to be very creative. And now with Hassan Reddick and having that consistent pass rush, because I definitely believe in this signing, and Reddick has been able to do it, maybe not last year, but throughout his career, 59 sacks. When you have that consistent pass rush, it changes, this defense all around. You don't have to do all that funny stuff that you had to do last year and compensate, if you will, for the injury situation, right?
But that's just it. It's not funny stuff. And first of all, the frozen pirate. Every time I have a conversation with this guy, it feels like I'm hiring a hitman to take care of somebody for me, brother. How are you tonight, my friend?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
That's awesome. And the thing is, here's the thing. I get it, guys. When we see a Joe Tryon-Shoyinka or we see a Vita Vea and a short coverage, the very nature, the predication upon the defense that allows an Antoine Winfield or allows these blitzes, and we know Todd Bowles loved to blitz, is that these defensive linemen, they're not really expecting them to go one-on-one more than 2 to 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. They're more cutting off passing lanes. So if Joe Burrow can't throw it underneath, can't hit somebody out of the backfield. And if they happen to get an interception, kind of like what Shaq Barrett did, against the Bears back then, that happens too. But, you can't have that blitzing if you're not willing to, it's the craziest thing seeing Vita drop in coverage. But he's not so much covering a guy one-on-one trying to keep him going vertical. He's just trying to cut off the short passing lane so the blitz has a chance to work.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Ray, what else is on your mind tonight, man?
You know what, Ray? Before you go in there, Ray, you are astute in that. All you want the quarterback to do is pull it down. Because he's looking for a short 3-step drop. He looks up, and all of a sudden, he's looking at a different colored jersey. He's got to pull it down. Now he's got to go to plan B, and by then, that rush may get there. So that's a very good comment there, Ray.
Yeah, and Ray, by the way, not to be confused with pull it out, like the one of the women said on our broadcast there, Fergs. Go ahead, my friend.
Also, guys, that interesting things that don't take a long time. But the funny thing is, I'll leave you with this, guys. Great
Shut
show
up
again,
and be quiet.
I'll leave you with this, Leo. I'll take you as to vacillate. That's what it reminds me of when these defensitive linemen. That's the Leo word, vacillate.
Listen to you.
And well, and when you try to make a Joe Burrow pull that ball down, it doesn't mean Vita Vea's got him covered like on, shadowing him. But think about it. The quarterback all of a sudden drops back. He looks across the middle. The linebacker's not there, but he sees a 350-pound Vita Vea. He's going to pull that ball down, and it's going to allow the blitz to happen. So I always hope that continues happening. Let's just hope that the offenses don't have the success to burn the holes in that theory and let that blitz work, guys. Great show, and thanks for letting me call on, guys.
Yeah, man, absolutely appreciate you. Anytime you want to get on video, you let me know, all right?
Thank you, brother.
All right, good stuff there. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. We'll get back out to the comments in just a moment. Miss Jet Sky, thanks a lot for tuning in. Appreciate you. Always love when women tune in to the evolution of sports talk television. It's the highlight of my night. Let's go back out to Levante David. Linebackers have got to be playmakers. You got to find a way to impact the game some way, somehow. Splash plays, creating tackles for losses, getting ball, disrupting plays, not just making tackles, trying to get the ball out, and not just being comfortable knocking the ball down. He also has this to say, and I don't know if you guys knew this. He says also getting interceptions, all that contributes to winning organization, and that's all around. We didn't have a lot of interceptions this year as a defense, and I want that to change. I think we need to be more aggressive, have more confidence in ourselves, be able to make the play, and don't be satisfied with just doing your job. Go above and beyond. Kind of go ahead and go through those comments just a little bit, because once again, this has been the emphasis. It's always the emphasis, especially with the defensive-minded coach and a Todd Bowles, where you want ball hawks, you want to create turnovers, and the Bucs weren't able to do that. But kind of go through those comments with Levante David, go and be above and beyond. They always say sometimes it's do your job, but it also comes down to not necessarily doing your job, going above your job. So kind of explain David's comments there, Leo.
It's very, very interesting that he said that, because you don't want to do somebody else's job, but you want to figure out what your job is and to do it better. And that's the key. Just get better. And the thing with the Bucs defense and any defense, you got to figure out real quick. The guys in the other colored jerseys are getting paid too.
Mm.
And I'll give you an example. Let's go back to the Buccaneers and the Commanders. Al Curtis, when I said, look, I'm going on ABC 7 up in D.C., what's the Bucs' biggest fear? And he hit the nail on the head. He said, the biggest fear the Bucs have is Washington getting the ball last with a chance to tie or win. And I said, why is that? Because Jaden Daniels is going to know they're going to play a soft zone because they can't afford to lose sight of it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. What was it, guys? 14, 16 plays down the field, shooting up every second of the clock.
7-minute
And
drive.
it wasn't the Buccaneers or Todd Bowles' fault. It's just Washington knew because of their personnel what's going to happen. And again, remember, this is a copycat league. When people saw what the Eagles did with 4 rushers, you're going to start to see that. You're going to start to see teams really look for that beef in the middle between the tackles, and they're going to look for that speed guys on the outside. And they're going to try. Peter, let's go back to 1999, which, in my opinion, was one of the top 3 defenses in the history of the NFL with the Buccaneers.
Mm.
They never blitzed. They would drop Lynch down in the box every now and then, but it was basically 4 guys.
Yes.
And then when Simeon Rice came in 2000, my God, all of a sudden, everything exploded.
Well, everything exploded. And of course, when they did blitz, there on the edge, and I believe it was Brian Kelly. Is it Brian Kelly that gets beat on the coverage, or Brian Kelly that's blitzing at the time, or is that Sheldon Quarles? I'm not sure. But somebody blitzes off the edge. You don't get to Kurt Warner. And of course, Kurt Warner exposes you with a perfect drop in the bucket throw there to Ricky Proehl for the go-ahead touchdown there, I believe, with like 4 minutes to go in that NFC title game.
Brian Kelly missed the interception by probably 6 inches and missed knocking it down by less than a fingernail. That's how good that pass was.
Who was it on the blitz on the corner? Who was that who didn't get there?
It was either Brooks or it was Al Singleton. I think it was Al Singleton.
I think you're right. I think it was Al Singleton.
I think it was Al Singleton.
Is it Al Singleton? All right. Well, speaking of that defense at the time, of course, they had this guy on there. That'd be Derek Brooks. Now, I didn't know this until just looking at it here, Louis and Leo, the 2 L's here on the Evolution. He needs 112 tackles to pass Derek Brooks' franchise record of 1,713. He says, I'm not competing with Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks is still light years ahead of me of where I want to be. But it would be an incredible accomplishment, for me, the leader of the franchise in tackles. That's something every kid would dream of, especially a kid in my position. With that being said, do you think he can get it this year? Does it take him 2 years? If he can't get it this year, does he come back for another year because he is playing at a high level? And what do you think about David, Leo, and Louis about him surpassing Derek Brooks? Do you look at Derek Brooks as 1A, and then after that, Levante David 1B? Leo.
All right, I'll go first. No, Peter, it's still 1 and 2. Okay. I hate to say that, but that's how good Derek Brooks was. It's not how deficient Levante David is. Derek Brooks was so phenomenal. He makes a play. And I asked Joe Barry this after they played the Saints. It's a 4th down play, and they hit the back with a swing pass. All he needs to get is 8 yards. Derek Brooks gets there, and he's a yard short.
Yeah.
I go, Joe, I've never seen a linebacker make a play like that. And he looked at me and said, you never will, because that's just how good Brooks is. And again, Monty Kiffin used to preach, we're going to play the Tampa 2. We're going to play the Tampa 2. Everybody's got a gap. And I said, Monty, look, let me ask you this. You're talking everybody having a gap, right? There's 8 gaps, okay? Now you're playing cover 2 behind him. Now you're playing Canadian. You got 2 corners, you got 2 safeties, and you got 8 gaps. What's going on? And Monty looked me in the eye and said, somebody's going to play 2 gaps. We're just not telling you who it is. Well, I get Monty aside afterwards, and I said, okay, Monty, what's going on? He goes, 75 to 85% of the time, 55 has two gaps. That's how good he was.
Mm. The late great Monty Kiffin passing away this year, the mad scientist defensive coordinator of that great defense there in the late 90s and, of course, early 2000s with Super Bowl 37. Just a dominating. And I've always said Monty Kiffin's defense there, the 10 years, with the longevity and the consistency and the players that come in and out of there with the Hall of Famers should be considered right up there with the Steel Curtain. With that being said, Levante David here, Louis. What do you rank him? Is he number 2 here? Could he be number 1 in your opinion? Derek Brooks, Levante David, of course, David surpassing Brooks.
Unfortunately, I love Levante David. He is such a humble player. You don't see players like that. You don't see many players that play with one team. And, unfortunately for me, I mean, I started rooting for this team because Derek Brooks was drafted to the Buccaneers. Derek Brooks is one of my favorite Bucs of all time. You can't surpass Derek Brooks. I mean, statistically, yes, but what he did on the field, Derek Brooks was such a different breed of linebacker, and they said he was a little undersized, but he would just fly around the field. He would he was a game changer, and you feared Derek Brooks, and he could hit. And not only that, he showed the NFL in that nostalgia of Michael Vick, the aura of Michael Vick. He showed the league how to shut down Michael Vick when nobody could, and Michael Vick had some of his worst games against Derek Brooks. I think Levante will get the surpass Derek Brooks in tackles. I think so. I mean, he still plays at such a high level, but in my opinion, Derek Brooks is a legend. He's an icon. He is the Buccaneers defense, and nobody. It's not fair to compare the two because in the same right, because to me, in my opinion, there's one Derek Brooks, there's one Levante David, and I'm fortunate that I got to see both of them play one right after another. And Levante is in his own stratosphere, and Derek Brooks is in another stratosphere, in my opinion. That's tough to compare the two, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, like I said, these records too, I want to go on and say these records that players are breaking now, I think it's a little unfair to the past guys because they were only playing 14 games, 16 games.
Yep.
Now these guys have extra games. So who is to say how many tackles Derek Brooks would have got? Even a guy like Ray Lewis too. How many tackles these guys would have got if they would have played up the amount of games that they're playing now? It'd be insane, So
it would be insane. Absolutely. Speaking of one of our old friends here, Byron Leftwich, who called plays for Tampa Bay from 19 to 22, won a Super Bowl with the team as an offensive coordinator, has now joined Deion Sanders in the Colorado Buffaloes, reported by Fox Sports insider Jordan Schultz. What do we make of this? We heard Leftwich, do interviews, Leo, around the league. Never get any interest at this point. Is this the way to go here, where you build up your name once again with the college football team, and then eventually you may get another coaching job in the National Football League? What do we make of the Byron Leftwich move?
Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with coaching in college right now.
Right.
But you're coaching. That's the key. You look at what happens to people. Some guys, Nick Saban wasn't a good NFL coach. But I'll tell you what, he's the dean of college football coaches.
Yeah.
Find your niche and stay there. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a perfect example of that is Dabo Swinney. Do you think Dabo Swinney wants to coach in the NFL? No. He wants to coach at Clemson, and that's it. And he's a happy camper there. While we're on the subject, NCAA needs to do something about the portal. And again, here's my thought. There's a simple solution to this. You get one free move in the portal, right? You get out of jail free card. You get to move once. You want to move a second time, you sit a year. That would solve all these problems. And the NCAA is all worried, well, we'll get sued in court. So what? Bring it on. You got more money than God up there.
Oh, yeah.
Just throw your weight around and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're not under government regulation. We're just an entity. And we're telling you, that you get one free move, but the second one, you're going to have to sit a year.
Yeah.
Well, that's restrain a trade. No, it's being smart.
Well, it is being smart, and I know it's March Madness, so you got to get out of here. I know we got to call on the left-hander, but what do you make of this bracket at this point? I did mine. The great media icon himself, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network, allowed me to get in his bracket. I got all 4 number ones moving on to the Final Four. I think they're that good. What kind of upset do you see? I kind of think Colorado State over TJ's Memphis team could be in the first round offing there. I mean, how do we see this tournament working out? How excited are you to see March Madness once again back? It's probably one of the greatest times in sports in general at this point, right?
Well, it's funny. I was talking to the CBS guys out at the Valspar today, and he said, we aren't even doing a 6 o'clock news show the next 4 days. We are not even planning on going on until midnight. I said, if you get on at midnight, you're lucky. He said, yeah, because last year what happened was the first game went overtime. That kicks everything back. And it's crazy. But when you look at what's going on, which one of the 4 top seeds do I think has the best chance of getting there? If Houston is healthy, they're really that good. That's the key. The team that I think gets knocked off is Florida, only because they haven't been there. Auburn's been there. Duke has been there. Florida hasn't. And believe me, what happens in the NCAA, it's such a guard-dominated tournament.
Right.
You've got to get great guard play. I'll tell you what, keep an eye on Houston and don't go to sleep on North Carolina. I know it was a play-in game, but they just destroyed one of the top 5 defensive teams in the country in San Diego State. If they come out shooting 67% from the three-point line, they're going all the way to the Final Four. And here's the problem. You know the team that's beaten San Diego State the last 2 years, fellas? Connecticut. And that's my last surprise. Do not think Connecticut is going to go down without a fight. They are going to be a really tough out. They are long, they are athletic, and they're basketball players. Be careful. That's a team you want to keep an eye on. But I would love to sit here and say Tennessee, but I just think that the SEC has beat themselves up so badly during the season, they may not have any gas left. And again, they have 14 teams in the tournament. If we're sitting here on Monday talking about an SEC that has 8 or less teams in, that's a problem. Because you've got a 6-12 conference team in there in Texas. I don't care what you're doing. You can't win 50% of your conference game. And they say, well, it's a tough conference. You know what? Get better and win. That's all I care about. And you know what, Peter? I'm going out on that one.
You're definitely going on that one. We'll see what Duke can do because they're my favorite, and they're actually my pick to win it all against Florida there in the championship game. And again, for me, it's going to be all 4 of the number ones making it. Leo, you're number 1 in our book here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. We appreciate the time, boss. All right?
Yeah, and then next Monday we'll have Larry DiBiase and John Lentz coming on and talking about that first weekend.
Yeah, we got some basketball talk for you. So we definitely got that here on the Evolution. As always, we appreciate the time. All right.
Take care, guys. Have a great night.
Good stuff there. Leo Haggerty. Open phone lines. We'll get back out to the comments. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So Bucs talk. Question for the night. Where were you 5 years ago when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs? What do you think overall the Bucs have done free agency wise here? Levante David introduced to the media talking about how the Bucs sign their own players. Anthony Walker Jr. Talking today. They signed Bryce Hall. Excuse me. Goodness gracious.
I like that signing of Bryce Hall. I felt like he would have helped this secondary a lot, but he got hurt very early on in the season.
Yeah.
watch out for him this year. I think he's going to contribute pretty. I'm not going to say he's going to be the star corner of our defense,
Right.
but I will say he will contribute. I think he gets a pick or two. I think he contributes in the long run for this team.
Well, that would be nice to get a pick or two. Of course, he was re-signed, according to Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. 27 played 17 defensive snaps, 3 on special teams before dislocating his ankle, fracturing the fibula in the right leg in the season opener against Washington. Again, he could be competing for the number 3 cornerback for the Bucs. Spent his first 4 seasons with the Jets. They made him a 5th-round pick in 2020, signed a 1-year, $1.125 million deal. Again, Bryce Hall, not Breece Hall, the running back, as we would say there with the New York Jets. Let's go out to this guy right here. Let's go out to Sun Devil Dave here. Dave, welcome to the Evolution.
What's
Leading
going
off
on?
here. What's up?
You guys are doing great today.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I was gonna, earlier I talked to you about bowls.
Yes.
I want to switch it up a little bit.
Go for it.
We got to talk about the crybaby Detroit Lions.
Yes,
and
crybabies.
their and their proposal. Now they have a couple of proposals for rule changes for 2025. The main one was going to reseed the playoff teams to basically say Commanders probably would have been, I believe, number 3. They're going to basically division winner could still get the top seed,
Okay.
and after that it goes either by wild card or division winners. I think the Vikings had to go on the road against the Rams, right, this year.
That is correct. Yes, I believe so.
right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I could see where they're going with that. I mean, I think that they're basically saying, oh, we shouldn't have played the Commanders. We should have played the Packers
Sure.
because the Commanders probably would have got a 3C. But do you see the Commanders ownership crying about, oh, we should make the rule change because we could have been a 3 seed? They had to go on the road against the Bucs, beat the Bucs. They had to go on the road against the Lions, beat the Lions. They had to go on the road against the Eagles. Take care of business and beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yep.
If you're one seed with a bye, you got a bye, you should be able to take care of business.
You should be, and I don't know why you're going to
Yeah.
try to change the playoff seedings just to change things at the end of the day. And of
Right.
course, we know that Green Bay wants to get rid of the tush push, and
Right.
they want to change
do
the
too.
overtime rules. And I'm all about change. I don't like
Right.
I like the playoff seedings the way they are. I like the fact that when Tampa Bay wins the NFC South, they're rewarded with a home playoff game. I mean, that's just that's the way the cookie crumbles. I get it. Minnesota had lots of wins, and Detroit had lots of wins, and only one of those teams got a home game. Tough stuff, tough. There you go.
That's right.
I don't like when they tweak all these things. Like it's a little too much. Even the kickoff, they tweaked the kickoff. I mean,
Yes.
that didn't really work out too well. I thought that was gonna, maybe we'd see a little bit more scoring on there, but unfortunately we didn't. The only concern I have, and this can be for another episode because we can go way down the rabbit hole with this one, is
Sure.
I don't like the way the conferences are set up. I think they make no sense. I think the way the divisions are aligned, they make no sense. We actually talked. I mean, you have the Dolphins in the AFC East. Makes no sense.
Right.
I think they need I'm not saying a full realignment of divisions, but I mean, I think the NBA's got it right with the East and the West. I mean, if you take a look at the NFL, like it's just even the Cowboys are in the East. They should be in the South. It's the South, and I get it. Oh, the Eagles and Cowboys, you can still have those rivalries. They would just make them even more meaningful. Like they can still play.
Yeah.
Like they have the extra game. Like
Sure.
that extra game could be against the rival. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the divisions are a little weird.
Divisions are weird. Everything is weird with the National Football League, and when they try to change the rules, especially when it comes to the kickoff, I thought it was terrible. I mean, you had some kickoff returns, but
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like
well, for safety. They were
well,
trying to
who
protect the
cares
players,
about?
obviously.
Listen, if you care about safety, and let me go full screen on this. If you truly care about safety, and you're in the National Football League, and you're trying to sell this to me, then don't have Thursday night games. Don't have Saturday night games. Don't have an 18-game season if you truly care about the NFL and the injury situation. It's nonsense. And of course, when they start losing ratings and the whole no onside kick unless you allow the team or let the team know. I mean, come on, that just takes the.
Isn't that one of the main reasons why the Colts? No, who was it? No, was it the Colts or the Bears in that
Yes.
Super Bowl? One of them
Yes.
came out and kicked an onside kick and surprised them. And that
Yes.
changed the dynamic of the game. They didn't
Well,
announce
Saints
anything.
was the Saints and Sean Payton right
Right.
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
right
That's
after
right.
halftime.
Yeah, so it's just like it's all, again, we can go down the rabbit hole with a lot of these things. It's just again,
Yes.
go back to the way the kickoffs used to be, and I agree with you with the safety situation. You don't want players to get hurt. Get rid of these Thursday night games, and it's asinine to these players. After you have you take a look at the black and blue division in the NFC North. You have two hated teams that are going up against each, or even the AFC North.
Yeah.
The Bengals and the Steelers, or the Steelers and the Ravens, or the Browns.
Right.
These two teams beat the crap out of each other, and then we got a Thursday night game. We have 3 days to prepare. That you want to talk about safety?
Stand by,
So I
Curtis.
absolutely agree with that.
On the line here. Go ahead. Go
They
back
want
to
generate more money. So
Yes.
it's all about eyeballs and money and revenue. And it's going to be an 18-game season. I think it's going to happen probably by 2026.
Well, probably will.
We have two preseason game, 18-game season. The other change was they want to make overtime where both teams get possessions. The first team scores first and a touchdown. The other team still gets possession, and they want to have it in regular season instead of just having it in the playoffs.
Right.
But I think it's a knee-jerk reaction because remember when they changed the overtime rule, I think it was because the Saints lost, or the Vikings lost to the Saints in 2009 when Brett Favre made that ridiculous pass when they're in field goal range. He had an interception. That's so stupid.
Yes.
And then what happened was the Saints got the ball in overtime. They scored a field goal, and the game was over.
Yes.
The Bills also lost to the Chiefs, I think, a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they changed it to where if we score on a touchdown first, the other team can.
Sun Devil, I
get in
don't
the
want to be
playoffs.
rude here,
So
but
anyway,
hold that
okay.
thought because we're going to go out to
Okay.
our other co-host here of the show. Here we
Right.
go.
Great.
Professional handicapper extraordinaire of the sports web, one of the hardest working men out there. That's why he hasn't been on with us, because he's been working hard at other things here. Mr. Harry the Greek, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with Louis from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Happy Wednesday, buddy. How you doing?
What's up, gentlemen? Louis, how you doing, man?
Living the dream.
There you go. Everybody's living the dream at this point. Let me ask you really quick here, Sun Devil Dave, or actually, let me ask you, Harry.
Yeah, Louis.
Where were you 5 years from Monday? Stand by, Sun Devil. Harry, where were you 5 years to Monday when Tom Brady signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Sitting on my front porch with Tampa Bay Ray sipping on a cold one.
I think that's what we all were. We were all doing our thing.
That's
I know
exactly what it was. And then someone went live, and that was it.
Yes, I went live. That's who went live. And
I think it was Ray that went live first, and then you ended up going with it.
No, I went live first. I definitely went live, and then
You went live first.
It was, I believe it was. I didn't think Ray went live before me. Did Ray go live before me that night?
I believe he did on that one.
Okay, because I thought I broke the. Well, when it happened, I was on. So I don't know if Ray went after that.
Let me put it to you this way: the sports web broke it before anybody else did.
Oh, please, come on now. You know that's. Come on, you know that's.
No, before it was announced in Tampa Bay, the sports web actually brought it out.
Yes. Well, we would definitely.
That's the truth. You can even ask Ray Kennedy. You're the one who actually announced it, or Ray did. All I know is on the sports web, we had announced it that was happening. Don't you remember that? Because that's one thing we were talking about. We were bantering on it.
Yes, we were. We were absolutely good times. All right, Sun Devil Dave, go ahead and finish up, and we'll
Just
you
real
can
quickly,
use that second call.
I think they're gonna real quick. I think they're gonna ban the touch push.
Okay.
I think they're gonna do the reseeding only because it's always a knee-jerk reaction. You know, when that happened to the Saints Vikings game, then they changed the overtime rule. I think it's going to happen. And now that also the defensive rule, where now they say if there's a 5 instead of the 5-yard penalty, automatic first down, they're going to get rid of the automatic first down. I know the Lions want to propose that, maybe make the defenses more aggressive. It's like, okay, I'm going to hit them in the face, and then we just get a 5-yard penalty. We don't get automatic first down. So that was another proposed change the Lions asked for. I don't know if that's going to go through though. So
all right, my friend.
I'll come back for. Are we doing wrestle?
Of
talk
course,
tonight
we're doing Turnbuckle Talk. We got Harry on as a co-host. No, he's not going to be on.
Bullshit.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk some wrestling here.
Great job.
Great job.
I'll talk to you guys in the second call on Turnbuckle Talk. Take
All right.
care.
Yep. All right. Good stuff there, Dave. Right there, give him the Ric Flair. Let me go out to you, Harry. What do you think about all these rule changes that are being talked about? No tush push. changing the seedings.
I don't think they should get rid of the tush push. Honestly, that's just my opinion. Do I like it? No. You want it to stop. Figure out a way to make it stop, just like they did with every other offense that was out there. All the new gimmicks with the Wildcat. That was a reinvention from when? From the 1920s and the 1930s. Who brought that up? Papa Bear Hallis himself. Then they got rid of it because that's when they invented what they did called the forward pass. There was just you want to stop something, make defenses stop it. So far, no one's been able to figure it out. Nobody's really getting hurt anymore on any other play, to be honest with you. But the first down, automatic first down on a 5-yard penalty, that needs to go away. They need to revise that.
Well, I need you to take that back because Vita Vea and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers called. They want to know what you were talking about because they were able to shut down the tush push multiple times.
They did.
Harry the Greek.
No, I wasn't talking about that. They want to stop it because there's so many teams complaining about it.
Right.
Well, let them cry in their beer. Let teams in the NFL figure out exactly how to stop it. I wasn't talking about one specific team. I'm talking about multiple teams.
It's just they nobody can figure out how to stop it. That's the problem. That's why they're crying about it. And I agreed. Like I said, just stop crying about it. Figure out a way to stop it.
Before Buddy Ryan left the Chicago Bears, okay, he was the inventor of the 46 defense. That started way back in the 70s. People didn't even know anything about it. And Louis, I don't expect you to know about it. I don't think you're all that old about it. But that defense was aligned. There was 147 different alignments for this particular defensive scheme that they would run. And the man was an absolute genius. And his whole thing was he didn't have good enough players to get there to a quarterback with a 3 and 4 man rush. If he had to send 7 or 8, he was going to send 7 or 8. He was always going to send more than you could block. And teams, I remember back in the late 80s, were starting to protest and talk about, hey, this should be illegal. There should be at least a hat on another hat. And the NFL started laughing at them. That's why I laugh at things like that.
What about Detroit? Go ahead, Louis. I'm sorry.
No, again, it's just you just got to stop it. And I feel like with teams this day and age, like it's kind of like cherry picking. Like it's like crybabies. I'm sorry. Oh, we can't stop it. Stop crying. Just figure out a way to defend it. It's
yes,
different generation, man.
Yeah, they cry. They do cry.
Lions, going out there saying change the seating. Do you like the seatings the way the NFL does, or do you think there is a point to this where the Vikings you have to play on the road? The Lions, they got a home game. I mean, does it really matter? Should they change the seedings all around at this point? In your opinion, Harry?
I'm always for adding more teams. If they're going to add another game, they should add more teams.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. 1. 2, what I don't like is if you're a division winner and if you have the worst record, you should not be the home team. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't be that way. You should be the one that goes on the road.
That wouldn't play to the advantage of the Bucs because the Bucs, of course.
No, again, I'm not showing a bias here.
Right.
Okay, but that's the fact. If you're better, you should be home. You should be rewarded for something like that.
Yeah.
There have been teams that have had a home field advantage with a sub 500 record, and they're hosting a home playoff game. That's horseshit. You know that, and I know that. They're playing a team with 12 wins, and they're on the road. No, man, it's not right. But then again, that's the way the NFL has had it. Am I gonna lose sleep over it? No, but I'm just saying they should make it right.
Okay, all right.
But I am all for adding another game. I
Okay.
am all for adding more teams into the playoffs as well. I think it makes it more interesting.
All right. I got to ask you this, getting off football, going to baseball, because you know how I feel about Stu and this ownership when it comes to the Tampa Bay Rays. What did you think of this debacle? And it's getting worse because now it's been revealed that they want to renovate Tropicana Field. They want to do it for $600 million. They want another $200 million. They want to stay until 2038. When is the nonsense? When does the insanity stop? When does Major League Baseball step in and take this team away?
Who wants to renovate the field?
Stu wants to renovate Tropicana Field.
The same man that didn't want to renovate this field, that wanted to move across the street, who wanted all this property, the whole 9 yards. Okay, let me be really clear. Stu, you're the worst owner in baseball. It's not even close. Okay. It's time to start giving back and start actually giving a shit what the fans want. I don't want to see this team leave the St. Pete area, but if they have to and they go to Tampa, so be it. But make up your mind. You got to let people, you got to stop making people hostages, okay, for what you should be taking care of yourself. How dare you want to, have the taxpayers pay how many millions of dollars to go ahead and build you a stadium and you get to get all the proceeds for it? I don't know. Make up your mind, Stu. Personally, Peter,
Mm.
I think the guy's an idiot. No, I think the man's a genius, but I think the people in Tampa Bay should just force this guy to get rid of it. I'm really hoping that Major League Baseball steps in and does something about it because this man has got to be stopped.
Listen, I was telling everybody, I'm not a big drinker, I'm not a big partier, but I'm going to party like it's 1999 once they get a new owner, because I believe that the Tampa Bay sports fan, the baseball fan, deserves better. They deserve on par with Jeff
He's holding
Vinny.
that franchise hostage.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
He's holding that, and I think that's asinine. So I've been to Tropicana Fields one time, a couple of years back, and it was a little out of date. But I mean, I enjoyed going to that game. That was my first Rays game. Me, my son, my wife. It was our first game. Being in Massachusetts, we always go to Fenway and watch some games and stuff. But I think it's asinine that he wants to. What is it? $600 million to
600
redo that
million.
stadium.
Yeah, 600 million.
I think that's. I mean, at this point, again, it's so asinine. I mean, there's really nothing you can do for that. I mean, you just got to sell the team, and
This is another ploy, brothers. This is another
It's-
ploy, just like they did in the early 90s with the White Sox. It's the same thing they wanted to do with Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, to try to lure a team down. And this is exactly what he's doing now. He is going to force the hand. But you know what? Major League Baseball has finally had enough. For God's sakes, please step
Yeah.
in. Just please step in. This is
the whole.
ridiculous.
It's 600 million, right, to update the Trop.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
again, I don't know. I mean, not to bring up the Red Sox, but I mean, if I could see them like redoing stuff at Fenway, because Fenway is Fenway. That's been around since 100 years, But what he's doing, it's again, I have no words for it. It's just, it's holding not only just the team, you're messing with the fans too. It's asinine. It is.
You
It's
know what? Fix the roof on it.
yeah, just fix the
Go ahead and
roof.
fix it. You just fix the roof. Who cares? And then
'Cause-
you can lease it out. Then put the USF Bulls over there. How about that?
Yes,
And then-
exactly.
And
Why
on
not?
top of it, you're gonna make people pay all this money. The taxpayers taxpayers are gonna have to pay some of that 600 million. You're gonna continuously have hurricanes. Like, just fix the roof, reinforce that roof so it's hurricane proof, and just sell the team, and then let the new ownership take care of the rest. Like, it's again, I've never seen anything like that. Like, I'm sorry to use the word, but he's an ass clown. I'm sorry, he's
Yes,
an ass
he's
clown.
absolutely an ass clown, and it would be 200 split three ways from the race, from the commission, and so let me just read this correctly. He said three ways: commission, race, and Pinellas County. So
I'm sure that's gonna go over well with people.
oh yeah, absolutely,
You know.
especially with them approving the bonds, and then again,
It'd be one thing. It'd be one thing if the taxpayers, like where I'm at right now, right? In this county that I'm in, our property values and all that stuff are all going skyrocket and all that stuff because they just built 2 brand new high schools.
Yes,
But it benefits the community because these are state of the art high schools. One's a Voc school, the other one's a public school. But I mean, these schools are amazing.
Without question.
It's a necessity, but like, I don't know, just that whole situation with Stu. I mean, I could
It
say
would-
some other things, but I'm not
it would-
going to.
I
No,
know
no, it's okay. It's after 10 o'clock.
Well, it'd be the Rays, St. Pete, and Pinellas County contributing 200 million each, so it would add up to 600 million.
But I think the people of Pinellas County, if the guy sold the team and they actually built like a nice stadium, I think they'd be all right with that.
Pinellas County is never going to go for it, number one. If they're going to pipe in $600 million, they're not going to do it for this stadium. I
No.
assure you of that.
Not for
Okay. And
this
if they,
guy, no.
and not for what this guy's actually doing to us. Let me tell you what's going to happen. We're going to pipe $600 million into this stadium, and he's going to hold the team hostage again.
Yep.
He's collecting all the proceeds. He's going to raise the ticket prices. Oh, by the way, when they play in Tampa this year, do you know what they're doing with the ticket prices over there, Peter? Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah,
It's a 40%. It's a 40% increase.
ridiculous.
40%. For what? A third place team? Really? Right here, Stu. God, don't get me going. For real. Sorry about that.
That's what we do here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Harry the Greek coming.
And sorry, FanDuel, if you're seeing that. Yeah, that's what you get with the Greek.
Well, that's it. That's what you get here. That's why we love you on the Evolution. We always say 3 things. I'm not going to say them loud because the roommates are sleeping. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. With that being said, what do you think overall about what this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team has done in free agency? Of course, re-signing Chris Godwin, Ben Bredesen, Levante David, signing a linebacker from the Dolphins. I want to go through these numbers here because this is not necessarily the most favoring. And this is what Anthony Walker Jr. had to say from the Dolphins. He says defense is all about just knowing where your spot is and everyone knowing where their spot is, understanding how offenses can attack. Make sure we limit those gains when they do throw it there. Obviously, it starts with me doing my job. My job is to cover the middle of the field. He says, I pride myself on not allowing the ball to be thrown deep behind me or deep in front of me, which happened last year a lot to KJ Britt and whoever else was the middle linebacker. That's my job. That's me knowing what the defensive call is, executing my job at the time, whether it's I'm blitzing or I'm dropping in coverage or I'm stopping the run, whatever it is, you just want to execute your job. Now, guys, the numbers are not good. He had an overall grade of 48.0 at inside linebacker with a run stopping grade of 69.5, but his pass defense grade, get this, guys. Are you sitting down? 39.1. So KJ Britt was awful. This guy wasn't great. Can he turn this around for this Todd Bowles defense, or are they looking for, once again, a middle linebacker to compete with Walker Jr. here from Alabama and Campbell? Your thoughts, Harry, on not only this linebacker, but the Buccaneer free agency process?
Listen, man, I think the linebacking core, especially with the acquisition of one linebacker that came from San Francisco, I keep forgetting the young man's name, they're going to be fine. Okay, and Levante David, he's not going anywhere. His leadership is gonna be in there. And you know, Peter, I'm not really big on linebackers when they play over the age of 30. They just have a tendency of losing a step. Okay, their front four got better. They're going to get a pass rush. They're going to be fine. I say draft a corner and/or safety in the first couple of rounds, and you know this defense just might be as good as it was a couple of years ago. Again, it was very serviceable, even as banged up as they were this year. And you know, I'm not a statistic guy, but they were one of the top teams in the league against a run. And a lot of people did not know that, as banged up as they were. So
Well,
I have faith in what they're doing. I love what the Buccaneers have done in the offseason so far this year. And I think they're going to address this defense because they don't need nothing. They don't need anything on the offense right now to address into the middle to the late rounds. So your first couple of picks should be strictly defense. And in that first pick, they take the best available player that's on defense.
wow. I mean, that's exactly what Leo Haggerty say. Louis, do you subscribe to that theory? Best player available, or is it an edge rusher? Is it a linebacker, or best player available? Like some people say safety, some people say corner. Best player available, Louis. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been talking about Jahad Campbell a lot, and I've been talking about Jahad Campbell for since February, since the Super Bowl. You know, but now that I'm seeing more and more of Jahad Campbell, I mean, we're not the only fan base that's looking at him too. You know, we have two teams in the South that are picking ahead of us that need defense. You know, and if Jahad Campbell's not there, because you're gonna have, in my opinion, I think you're gonna have to trade up to get Jahad. I don't think Jason Light and company are gonna want to do that. You know, so I agree. They're gonna have to take the best player available on defense. I don't think you need to touch the offense. The offense is fine, in my opinion. The offense is fine. I believe you can, like, there's really nothing you need to do with that offense. The defense, I believe it's going to be a defensive heavy draft this year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because going back to what I said earlier on the show, they brought back their core nucleus of this team, and now you can continuously to build around these core guys like Levante David, like Vita Vea,
and you got Godwin back on the offense. That's why you don't have to. Now, if you're looking for, you know, if you're trying to solidify some depth in the later rounds, then you go after someone on the offense. But as far as the defense is concerned with that first pick, Bro, you got to take best player available,
Yeah.
whether it's edge rusher or not. I prefer to see them with a safety or a corner right now, especially one of those hybrid safety corners, like the young man that's out of Iowa. I keep forgetting his name.
Super Gene.
That's a really
Yeah.
good player, and he can play a lot of different ways. And he might be one of the sleepers in the entire draft, believe it or not. He's that good. I've watched this kid play.
Well, I want to correct you. Cooper DeJean was drafted by the Eagles, but that would be a
No,
similar.
not Cooper DeJean. Who's the young man from Iowa?
I think you're thinking of South Carolina, the safety.
No, there's a kid from Iowa.
Well, you got me on that one. So
I wrote all this down. It's just that I've been going for so many hours that my mind is drawing a blank, Peter, honestly. But there's a young man out of Iowa right now that is just an absolute phenomenal player. He can play safety. He can run down in the box. He can play coverage. I think he ran a 4.49 40 at 230 pounds. I mean, come on, man. That's flying. He could play the outside linebacker in positions on a rundown. He can cover. He can drop back. He's one of those type of players. He almost reminds me of, dare I say it, a Urlacher type of player, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know that Brian Urlacher was a safety in college. And did you know that, Peter?
I did know that, because of his size and the Bears took advantage of that. And I believe they played him like, what was it, a rover position or a robber position?
No, he was sitting on the bench. Warwick Holdman got hurt. They brought him in. The rest was history.
Sebastian Castro is his name.
Sebastian Castro. Okay. Well, there's another kid from South Carolina, 6'3", 215, the prototypical.
That kid's really good from Iowa.
Okay.
Sebastian,
right.
that's
5'11".
How fast did he run the 40?
4.5.
There you go.
Yep.
4.5. You're taking.
I thought he was a little bit taller. He looks taller on TV, man.
Yeah.
Well,
5'11".
5'11". Okay.
He seems like a Todd Bowles guy.
And man, I'm telling you, this young man, he's a thumper. He can drop back in the coverage. He's not tall enough, by the way, to play a linebacker, but he can when he's asked upon it. He plays multiple positions. Just a really good player. And he's one of those sleeper players. You don't have to get him in the first round. You can find someone like him in the second round and even the third round. But he's that type of player. And by the way, a really good leader on the team, too.
Yeah.
All right, Harry, I got to ask you, because you're a big fan of this guy, Colin Cowherd. He said it's not always the best thing for the Bucs to return all their offensive starters. In fact, he called the Bucs old. By the way, Cowherd.
What do you want from Colin Cowherd?
The second youngest team in the National Football League. So with national media pundits not necessarily doing their research, thinking like this, what are the odds for the Bucs to win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, if you're going to ask him, this is the same idiot that also said that the Buccaneers weren't going to win but 3 games 2 years ago. You remember that, Peter?
I do remember that. Yes, sir.
And then you're the one who had to tell me who he was, because I was like, who?
Who?
Who are you talking about? Because I don't listen to national pundits. You know that. I always let whatever the good Lord told me to watch. That's how I handicap. I don't listen to analysts and everybody else. That's just like taking PFF grades. What do I do with those, Peter?
you
right out there. They got to pass the eye test.
You do this.
One day, I swear to God, your soundboard, I am going to shove it so far up your anal canal, you're never going to find it again.
Hey, how about this?
That's great enough to suck right there.
By the way, our good buddy Byron Leftwich got a job with Colorado.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Greek, what did you think about that? And Louis, you can go ahead and follow up. But Byron,
you know what I think about it?
What?
That's the perfect place for him, because everybody here in Tampa Bay won. I have to remember. Let me snap the collar when I say that one. Everybody wanted him to be the head coach of Tampa Bay.
Oh, I remember that.
I started laughing. I was laughing hysterically, going, "What? This guy won't even get a job." But he got one. Colorado. Way to go, Byron.
Yeah, way to go for Byron Leftwich. He's back in college football at this point.
It's not a bad thing, though, because he's got to revitalize his career. But that mentality that he had to be as an OC, you know the way I felt about BA, it really wasn't that much difference about Byron Leftwich.
Oh, well, the 16-1, I think Louis said here about
Chicago 30-1. We're tied with Chicago, but they just changed it, because now Chicago is 35-1 and we're 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. We're 16-1 to win our division.
You know what? It's
I don't
how
even
much to win the division?
I think it's 16-1.
Nah, it can't be. You're getting an incorrect line.
Hold on.
Who are you reading this through?
I'm gonna go back to it. 1 second.
Can't be. It's too high. I got a little over 4-1 last year.
And how many shekels did you make out of that?
Can't tell you.
I can't tell you. Okay.
For tax reasons, obviously.
Of course. You know, we have set taxes and everything like that.
I'd be
So
surprised if they're more than 5-1.
The conference is 15-1.
okay.
And yeah, so I got it confused. I'm sorry. The conference is 15-1, and the Buccaneers for the Super Bowl is 30-1. They
What about the division? That's the key.
plus 105.
Okay, so they're the ongoing favorite right now.
They
to
have
win the division.
Houston, the Chargers, the Rams, the Packers, the Bengals, Commanders, and this is crazy. They have the 49ers Super Bowl 13-1.
You know what? Whatever the over-under is this year for the 49ers, I will let you know this. Bet under.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care if it's 6 games. Bet under. That
Okay.
team is going to be horrible this year.
Oh yeah, they're rebuilding at this point. I mean, they really are. John Lynch has got some major decisions to make, and then on top of it, you have to sign Brock Purdy to a new contract. You're not sure if you want to do that.
They just picked up Mac Jones.
Right. There you go. Mac Jones to San Francisco, which I thought years ago should have been the pick over Trey Lance. And
I remember that, Pete.
Yes, and it did not work out for both parties. Trey Lance was not good for San Francisco, and Mac Jones was definitely.
What about all these moves that have gone on in the NFL? JF1 is a Jet. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? Does he need a sabbatical and go smoke some hookah before he decides? I mean, what's going on with him?
Darkness, my old friend. He's got to go back to the dark room. Were you surprised by that report, guys, that Rodgers, Minnesota, that they were in
I wanted him to go there so bad. I just really wanted to see these NFC North teams go in there and just smack the living daylights out of him a couple of times.
Is this risky?
Go give me your discount double check again.
Yes.
And someone from Chicago is going to come by and just lambaste his ass a couple of times. That is one quarterback, I just do not have any love lost for.
I know you don't have any love for Aaron Rodgers. Is it risky for the Vikings, in your opinions, for them to go with J.J. McCarthy coming off the injury? I get it. They draft him first-round pick. They're impressed with him, but he's coming off a major injury there. You let Sam Darnold go to Seattle. This is risky.
That was a mistake, honestly, Pete. And in all honesty, even if they did get Rodgers over there, and again, I'll be serious now. I mean, because everybody knows when I'm just goofing around.
Right.
The Minnesota Vikings, even if they did get Aaron Rodgers, they're going to still be looking for a quarterback because, as I alluded to, and talking about it in pre-draft, I thought that the worst quarterback coming out of the first round was J.J. McCarthy. I think he is a phony. He is a running quarterback. I think he's never going to be an accurate passer in the National Football League, and his release is so long. I've done a lot of extensive work on him. And now you're going to top off the injury that the young man has had coming off that knee injuries. That's going to be pretty difficult, Pete.
Yeah.
But as far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned, he had a respectable year last year, but you could see the age really creeping up on him. And I don't know if I'd be ready to hand the keys over to a quarterback that's looking for a 2-year deal. And nobody in football is willing to give him that 2-year deal. Nobody.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to see what you have in J.J. McCarthy. So for those reasons, Minnesota will not grab him. I still predict he's going to be a Steeler and or a Giant. And right now, it seems like Pittsburgh's a little bit annoyed with him because he didn't actually commit to them because he's looking for that ultimate 2-year deal, Pete. And I just don't think a general manager is going to go ahead and give it to him at his age and in the way that he looks like he's slowed down, even though he almost threw for 4,000 yards last year.
True. And I think, Rodgers, Louis, could end up with the New York Giants because they are so desperate. They got to save their jobs there, the coach, and, of course, the general manager. And I think you re-sign Russell Wilson. What are your thoughts on Minnesota going with McCarthy over Rodgers? Are you surprised by that?
Yes and no. I think they made a mistake by letting Sam Darnold walk because you had the cap space. You could have franchise tagged him, and if it didn't work out, there's no you're not tied up to him. I mean, these quarterbacks are going for, $40 million plus per year. So I mean, I think they made a big mistake because number one, they have the best wide receiver in the NFL. They have one of the best tight ends in the NFL. They have a pretty good defense. I don't know. I have to agree. Like this kid's coming off an injury. I I don't know.
But
I
you got to
think
see what you got in him. You
yeah,
have to play this kid because
yeah,
what happens
you
if he doesn't
drafted him.
play this year, Peter? He's coming up on a contract. That's his 3rd year.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really think about it. So what are you going to do? Just pay him? If you give Aaron Rodgers that 2-year deal and McCarthy isn't playing, so what are you going to do now? You're going to let him go? Now you've wasted a 1st-round draft pick. That's why. That's the only reason why. Although I hope they bring in Aaron Rodgers because really, I meant it when I said I'd really like to see some teams tee off on him a couple of times to make him go to one of his retreats a little bit early. But that's just not going to happen. They can't do it.
No, they can't do it. Justin Fields reports our guys that he could have signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, the Jets were they signed him to the same contract details, but instead he decided.
There are reasons.
Well, okay, so go to those reasons why you think JF didn't sign. Of course, Justin Fields with the Pittsburgh Steelers and signs with the Jets. I get it; he'll get an opportunity to start. But that is a garbage organization.
Not as bad as you think, man. You know why he went there, Peter? Okay, as someone that's got his ear to the ground, especially with free agents like that in the National Football League, I'm going to tell you why. It's because they actually gave him a bona fide number 1 where no one's going to challenge you at being, QB1. In Pittsburgh, he had Russell Wilson looking over his shirt, and they pulled him for Russell Wilson for absolutely no reason. None. He was winning football games. You remember that, and all of a sudden they bring in Russell Wilson. So how can you trust the Pittsburgh Steelers for doing that? You can't. They're as great of an organization that they are, they didn't really do him very good. Okay. Actually, I'd like to say they kind of did him dirty, to be honest with you. And let me tell you something. The Jets have a defense, and they got one of the better running backs in the National Football League, and they got a good 2 tight end set, and they've got a revamped offensive line and still have some decent receivers. Don't sleep on New York. I'm telling you that
I don't
right
think
now.
they're dead yet.
You may say what you want. That defense comes to play. And anytime you can run the football and play defense like that, Baltimore, hello. Let me tell you something.
Not only that, the Aaron Glenn hire was so underrated. He's the perfect coach to take over for that team. Aaron Glenn, I'm telling you, to me, in my opinion, I think it's the perfect situation for him. And Justin Fields, in my opinion, I do another show around the NFL. My co-host Jamie is a huge Bears fan, and even he says it to this day. They did Justin Fields wrong. Like they got rid of Fields, and then they started bringing in all these new shiny toys for Caleb Williams. What would Fields look like under that system? You'll never know. And then
no. I got to.
The offensive line. They had some issues with the offensive line. But I just think, in
Caleb
my opinion,
Williams, you compare Caleb and JF1, it's not even close. And I hope your co-host is listening to me, okay? You talk about a Chicago Bear fan here. The Lord blesses my Chicago Bears. Okay.
I was telling him I don't know how to be a Bears fan and watching those games and how you guys lose and all this stuff and like the weirdness that goes on. I'm like, dude, because I was rooting for the Bears, man.
Listen, man, JF1, when he was in college, was a passing quarterback that could run. Something happened. Something happened when he hit the National Football League. He became a running quarterback that could pass. It was just the opposite. Listen, Justin Fields has all the tools, but when you compare Caleb Williams to a Justin Fields, you can't do it. What Caleb Williams did last year, I'm going to tell you right now, people are talking about Jaden Daniels. Okay, you have no idea what they're going to say about this kid this year in a Caleb Williams. He's going to make a lot of people eat their words. He threw almost 300 passes without an interception.
Yeah,
pretty good.
With that offensive line.
And I believe he was on pace to be the all-time passing leader too, right? Because you guys don't really have
never hit 4,000 yards. Never had a
crazy.
pass 4,000 yards.
I was looking at some of the statistics. I'm like, this can't be real.
And I really like Justin Fields, but man, please forgive me for the people that do like Fields. He could not hold Caleb Williams' jockstrap. There is a huge difference and a gap between these two quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, what I was saying was if they decided to go with Justin Fields, if they decided, hey, we're not going to draft Caleb, we're going to go with Fields, do you think the result would be the same for the Bears? Do you think they would have been better?
Last year, I think Caleb Williams would have won a couple more games And yes, that came out of my mouth. But I'm talking about a quarterback that came in his first year. Justin Fields would have been in his fourth year, fourth
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
Okay, there would have been a difference because of one being a rookie, one not being a rookie. But ultimately, it still probably would have been the same result. But I think the Bears could have possibly won 2 more football games. You also have to remember, man, the Bears started the season 4-2, and then
Yeah.
the wheels fell off of it because of Tyreek Stevens when he was in Washington decided to play footsies
Yeah,
with
that
the
really
fans,
collapsed the season. Yeah.
and then they went on that 10-game lose streak, and
Yeah.
hence the reason for the OC getting fired, hence the reason for the head coach getting fired. And then Chicago had all this money sitting in their pocket, and they says, you know what? We obviously can't, you know, draft enough talent on an offensive line. I guess we're going to buy one, and they
Yes.
did. They
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 did.
bought a center, a really good center. They bought 2 of the better guards in football.
Yep.
You got to remember they have a starting All-Pro right tackle on the team, and now their left tackle, who is turning into a left tackle, who, by the way, PFF has is the 14th best left tackle in football. I say caca and horse crap. Okay,
Yeah.
you need a left tackle. Okay. But just talking about that, a lot of people are like happy, with their left tackle in Chicago. I'm like, the guys is utter garbage. You got to get rid of him. You have to remember, Caleb Williams was sacked 65 times. He was hit over
Yeah.
200,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he started every game.
Yeah, he did. I'll give him
Every
that.
game.
He did. And then we'll see what the Bears do with all the moves they made on the offensive line. In your opinion, going to the draft, is that the biggest need still for the Bears? Do you draft an offensive tackle where you're at, or once again, is it Jennity from
Jonty from Boise State.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in Chicago is really, really high on him. And so far with the moves what Chicago has done and what they've been able to do to spend money, and they still have a lot of money to spend. Did I just say that like 3 different ways?
You did, yes.
Okay, but that's okay. I think everybody out there understands that. I'm getting old. But if this running back is available at 10, I predict, or I wish, because Dallas is absolutely enamored with this running back, that they move up a couple of spots. They grab him. Chicago moves back 2. They still get the left tackle that they're looking for. They pick up some more draft capital, and then they'll have 3 number 2s in this draft. So if there's a player late in the first round that they want, they move up. So to answer your question, it wouldn't kill me to see Jonty as a Chicago Bear, but I wouldn't draft him. I'd probably get a little bit more draft capital, and then go after that left tackle for a long-term future.
Yeah,
that was
you
the
could see
biggest fight of that was the heist of the century. That trade, the Bears and the Panthers. That was
It's pretty good, wasn't it?
I'll tip my hat off to that trade. That was
Did you
pretty
know
damn
it
good.
even got almost bigger than that? You know how they moved to get that draft? You can go back to a 3-shot.
Sure, go for
Do
it.
you remember how when they made that move? Did you know they almost moved again to pick up 2 more first-round picks?
Wow. I
I'm
didn't know
not
that.
kidding you. Oh, no, they almost did.
Wow.
They almost moved back another slot.
That's
Just
insane.
oh yeah, I'm not kidding you, man. It was I remember reading it, and I knew someone that was in the draft room, and they were this close to pulling the trigger, but they had to have their player.
Good
Yeah,
for
that's
them.
their player. All right, let's talk about March Madness, and we'll get you out of here on that, man. We appreciate the time. Are you a big time basketball fan? What do you make of this? I think the 4 number 1 seeds have an opportunity to get to the Final Four. There's always upsets at this point. I mean, what do you make of March Madness right now, Harry the Greek?
Pete, you know that I can't handicap everything all at one time, and March Madness, this is the one time that honestly I will bet from just an everyday gambler's type of perspective. It's not something that I've handicapped. I usually defer to 2 of my friends, Tony and a guy by the name Kendrick, and they're the people that really handicap on college sports. But from what I've watched, being a Gator fan, I really like what Florida's doing. I think Duke is an incredible team. A lot of people have fallen asleep on what Connecticut's going to do, and I'm going to tell you right now, they got a lot of bigs. They're going to be really dangerous. San Diego State looks really good, but out of the number 1s, I'm really high on Florida. Even with the inexperience, I think they have a capabilities of winning it all this year. Duke, I don't know if I knew that their one guard or their best player is he
Super
playing
flag.
or not?
He
Is
hasn't
gonna,
played. He hasn't played yet. We'll see what the injury situation they may be
well,
able to get him
if he
back.
doesn't play, then he's going to have a real difficult time. But you know what? You're going to have some surprises and upsets. But I like a little bit of Tennessee, but Florida. Let me tell you something. Florida's the team to beat this year. I mean, it's just pretty destiny. I think this team's better than what it was back in. I think what was it, 2008?
That's saying something.
Yeah, they're pretty.
2008.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. And I know how much you like the Gators.
Oh yeah, but I like them as much as this.
Not the suck right there.
There you go. All right, good stuff.
Louis, can you do me a favor? Take your right hand and then reach over and just bring it straight up in the air. Okay, and go grab that thing off his desk and throw it as far as you can.
I'm bored.
All right, man. I appreciate you, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. We appreciate the time here on the Evolution. All right,
Louis, it's been a pleasure hanging out with your little brother.
Absolutely.
We'll do a couple more shows together, and we'll start talking. You know, we got to do everything. Let me give a little shout out to my boys over at FanDuel. Peter, love you very much, man. You can catch me here usually on a Monday and a Wednesday if I'm not working. Be more than happy to jump it. Cannot wait for baseball season to start. Go Tampa Bay Rays. And go White Sox. Did I say that out loud?
That's great enough to suck right there.
By the way, what do you think about the Major League Baseball starting the season in Japan? I get it. You're starting a foreign country here, but
I have to be honest. I get up in the morning. I like watching Fox 13 News because I'm up at dark 30 with the wife. And, we like watching Charlie's World and, everybody on there. They're like family. You get to see them every day, almost like the sports web, and the people expect us, right?
Yeah.
My wife wakes me up. She goes, Harry, honey. Yeah, babe, what's up? She goes, why are the Cubs on TV? What are you talking about? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. What are you talking about? The Cubs are on TV. And I'm like, honey, I don't know what's going on. So I go to the app and I'm looking and no, the news is on. There must be something wrong with the TV channel. Then the next day it's the same thing. And I'm like, let me check something. And they're actually playing the regular season.
Yes.
Who's that calling in, Pete?
It's, you know what? Let's go out to him. It's one of our favorite web heads. Curtis from Newport Richie. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. You're on with yours truly, along with the Greek himself, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. And
don't you try to leave, Harry. What's wrong with you?
And the newest member, Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast.
What's up, Curtis?
What's going on?
Oh man, nothing. I was listening to you guys.
Okay.
When I was working.
Okay.
And you know what? The problem with the NFL nowadays is the same problem that I have with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching. I'm a huge sports fan. I'm a sports fanatic. I'm nuts about sports. But these guys are so soft. Oh my God. They cry about everything.
I've had this conversation with people. It's a different time. It's just a different generation players. The NBA is a prime example of it. Like, I used to love basketball growing up as a kid. Do I watch it as much? No. Like, somebody told me, hey, the Celtics are on fire. Okay. I mean, I don't watch it just because the simple fact, so growing up, Barkley, Jordan, all these guys, they didn't want to play with each other. It was competitive.
Like, no, they couldn't play with each other.
If they could.
Today, hang on, I want you. No, I want you. Get the hell out of here.
There's no competitiveness anymore, and it's just like I seen something.
But Curtis, we know Curtis loves LeBron James. He thinks he's the GOAT.
Ooh, I was about to say something about LeBron.
Suck right there.
Listen,
that's okay, man. I know you got LeBron's poster hanging up in your bedroom.
Listen, let me tell you something. I just had throw out the bottom and poop come out the top when you saying that. All right, Jesus Christ. Listen,
F you, and F you. Peace out.
Listen,
I'm gonna go have a Guinness.
Let's just say this. I have no problem with LeBron's skill set as a player. I have no problem with him as a player.
That's a hell of a skill set, the way he flops, man. That's a great skill set.
But greatest of all time, there's no way in hell he could ever. Dude, you got Tim Duncan. You got Kobe Bryant. He's not even better than them players. You got
It's
Magic
La
Johnson.
Bum.
You
It's
got,
okay.
he's not.
Listen,
Listen,
Curtis, come on. It's cathartic. It's
the
cathartic.
NBA
Just repeat after me.
Peter, I'm sorry, I have to say this.
Say it.
The NBA is such a cupcake league. LeBron has literally been in the league, what, 20 years?
Yes.
He is what, 6'9", 270, 280 pounds. They don't make 300 pounds centers. They don't make 300 pounds. They don't make 300-pound centers anymore.
No.
So he basically goes in the paint and he plays bully ball, and then when he gets fouled, he cries like a
bro. Can you imagine
he
if
got
LeBron was
95?
Hold on.
never
Can you
happen.
imagine if LeBron had the face, and he wasn't even a big guy, just Dennis Rodman? Just think about that just for a minute, okay? Dennis Rodman.
Those guys would have ate LeBron alive.
Of course.
Again, it's different time. Time, different generation.
Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Okay, would have locked LeBron down.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
but I just want to give an example. You want to play with heart? Shaquille O'Neal was probably one of the, if not the most dominating center that I had ever seen, ever.
Yep.
Okay, and I've been on this good earth for a very long time. Dennis Rodman had a tendency of equalizing players, and he was literally 50 pounds, 60 pounds lighter than him. Okay, I mean, it's just what I watched.
Harry knows this because I know he's a huge Bulls fan. When the Bulls played Utah in the finals,
little push.
Karl Malone wanted to kill Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah,
he wanted to murder Dennis Rodman because Rodman did anything he could to get under Malone's skin.
Yeah, Rodman had 3 points in one game, 5 blocks, and was on Karl Malone like a stick of glue. And that was his whole job. Everywhere he went, he never, I'm telling you, when the ball was coming out of the backcourt, he was already on him. He's just on him like glue. You've never seen, and that was just, it's so fun to watch, man. They don't know what basketball is and defense is anymore.
No, there is no defense. There's no defense. There's 3-pointers.
That's when men used to play basketball.
Yes. And we can see it too. You know, everybody talks about LeBron doesn't have that killer instinct. He doesn't. He does not have that killer instinct.
Never had the killer instinct.
I'm going to go ahead and say this about LeBron. I don't like LeBron. He's a hell of an athlete, but here's my take on LeBron. He held the Lakers hostage to draft his kid when that kid has no business right now being on that team. I'm sorry, he's not very good,
dude.
At all.
Smith thing pissed me off so bad. I'm sorry.
You know,
did you know his kid was the worst player in the D League?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you, this is why I don't have respect for the NBA anymore. But just because, we want the first father son on the same team, man, screw that. Like, there's somebody out there that deserved that position. There's somebody deserved that seat on that bench, man. And he can't get it because LeBron is, I guess he must be the commissioner of the league or something. I don't know.
Yes.
But I'm sorry, he's done more harm for the NBA than anything. The super teams.
Here's the craziest thing. And I'm sorry, Peter. I know we usually talk Bucks and Rays, but this basketball stuff drives me crazy. The European players have taken over the NBA.
Of course. There's more European players in the draft this year than American players. It's been like that for the last 5 to 10 years.
They talk about Luka being fat and out of shape, but he's still tough as nails. He still goes out there and plays.
Yes, he does.
I like Luka.
He does. I like Luka too, but can he stay in shape? Can he not get hurt? He's already been hurt.
Circus over there.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. He's going to be in LA.
Yep.
They're going to hire the best person in the world.
They better
to get him into shape. And in 2-3 years, people aren't even going to remember Fat Luka.
They better dig up Richard Simmons or something because he needs to definitely get in shape. He needs to get more. He needs a hard-nosed coach. He needs somebody. I don't know if JJ Redick is the guy. I know he's played in the league.
Nobody had faith in JJ Redick at the beginning of the season.
True.
And JJ Redick has done I take my hat off to him because I was a huge JJ Redick fan when he played for Orlando.
Sure.
And you know what? I take my hat off to JJ Redick. and he's doing a phenomenal job.
He is.
Really
He's
is.
doing a phenomenal job,
He's
even with
doing a phenomenal.
LeBron
The problem
being
is
the GM
the
and the coach
problem
there.
is
Yes.
any team that LeBron plays for,
Right.
he's the terrible GM.
Well, yes, he's gotten coaches fired. He's gotten more coaches fired. I know they talked about Jordan getting a coach fired. He got one coach maybe fired, maybe two, but maybe,
Yeah, but
maybe
Jordan won championships.
right.
Yeah, Jordan was 6 for 6, guys.
Yeah, that's
he left, and we all know he left.
And
We all
7
know he
years
left
less.
Miami because Pat Riley was not having that shit.
Nope.
You're not Pat. Excuse my French. You're not gonna tell Pat Riley what to do.
No.
Can
What is
you
wrong
imagine?
with you?
Or Phil Jackson.
Yes, or Phil
Exactly.
Jackson. You need a coach like that. You need a coach to tell him, listen, you either get in shape, you either want to be a superstar in this league, or forget it. Just be what you are at this point, which is a limited player. He's good. He could be great. He could be better. He could be the best player in the league if he gets his weight down, if he wants to be committed to getting in shape, if he wants to be committed to playing defense, if he wants to become that overall player. Because, listen, you talk about Jordan in his early years, he was a scorer and he had to be a scorer and he had the ball. And what Phil Jackson, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're a big Bulls fan, Harry, what improved Jordan's game is when he got into the gym, he put on muscle, he got stronger because Detroit was beating the hell out of him. The Detroit Bad Boys, you could actually touch a plate.
Back up.
Yes.
1,000,000% correct. Jordan could always drive to the hoop. Jordan, when he came out of college, his Achilles heel was his jumper from 14 to 16 feet out.
Yes.
It just wasn't there. It was very inaccurate. And when the Bad Boys of Detroit, they had the thing called the Jordan rules, and people don't know anything about the Jordan rules, is when the entire lane collapses, when Jordan had the ball, they all knew he was going to drive to the hoop, and they beat the crap out of him. For 2 straight years, he spent an extra 2 hours in the gym at the free throw line, at the top of the point. I mean, he perfected his jump shot, and it was because of the Detroit Pistons that made Michael Jordan, including Coach Phil Jackson, become that player.
I want to piggyback off of that, Harry, because I know Phil Jackson taught Michael how to trust his teammates.
There you go. It comes down to Tom Paxson. It comes down to Steve Kerr. It comes down to Scottie Pippen. It comes down to Bill Cartwright. It comes down to Luke Longley. It comes down to
we can all go back and watch that.
Yes.
Who coach?
Winnington. Yes.
We can all go back and watch that playoff
Harper,
game where he scored 60.
Oakley.
He never passed the ball.
Grant.
Yes.
I will say one other thing. A lot of people don't know this. Take a look at the statistics. LeBron James, great player. Look at how many 40-point games that he's had.
Exactly.
And then Google how many Michael Jordan's had.
Michael Jordan has had.
Yeah.
Also, I think he's the only player that was the offensive player of the year and defensive player of the year multiple times.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And
how do you lead the NBA in scoring and be defensive player of the year? I mean, it's almost impossible.
It is.
Well, here's the thing. He passed Kareem in points. Yeah, but how many 3-pointers did Kareem have in his career?
Yes.
I mean, all the guys he passed in points at the top. I mean, MJ played Michael Jordan was down for technically 15 seasons. Well, one of those seasons he had the Liz Frank injury, so he didn't even play that season.
Nope.
People forgot about that.
Yep.
And then the other season where he came back at the end of the season, he didn't play that season either.
No, he didn't.
Did you know in his final year, I think it was his final 2 years, as old as he was,
Yep.
he played every game.
Every game.
He was still averaging. What was his average points per game?
Like 24, something stupid.
At 40 something. How old was he?
40 years old.
40. Yeah.
Look, my favorite Jordan thing ever was I watched his Hall of Fame speech, and at the end of his Hall of Fame speech, he told Brian Russell anytime he sees him in a pair of shorts, he's gonna bust his ass. I was on the floor dying, bro.
Love it.
Funniest thing I ever seen in my life.
Love it, man. Love it.
Like but yeah, I just listen. I love the NFL. I think Green Bay crying about the tush push. Shut up. It's a part of the game, dude. There's so many things that's part of the NFL. There's things that we've taken away from the NFL that drives me crazy. If anything, I feel like the overtime rule. If we go to overtime, you should just play the whole overtime.
Yes, thank you.
Period.
Yeah, like no
Do you guys
depending
like
on the coin toss.
do you guys like the format, like the way college does it? Starting from the 25-yard, what is it, 25 or the 20?
I think it. What is it? What is it? The 20-25 yard. What is it, Harry,
Yeah.
for college? 20
I
yard
don't
or
know.
I
25?
think it's 25. It's the 25.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I had to verify this.
Yes.
Anybody want to take a stab? How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have?
176.
Good guess, Louis.
How many 40-point games? I want to say maybe under 40. He didn't have much.
No. Michael Jordan had 211 40-point games.
111.
Wow.
Amazing.
211.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
amazing. That's why he's
211.
Just think about that.
And here's the thing. He was feared.
Yes.
They knew not to piss this guy off. Because if you pissed him off, he was going to go for 50.
Well, he would have went out for 50, or he would be averaging 55 in the day and age of the
Here,
NBA.
I gotta read this. This is unbelievable.
Go
You ready?
read it. Read it.
40-point games. Jordan has had a remarkable 211 games where he scored 40 points or more. Games with 20 or fewer points, in contrast, he had only 178 games where he scored 20 points or less. At age 40, in his games, Jordan scored 40 or more points in a game at the age 40 with the following games: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times at age 40.
Wow.
Amazing.
Just let taste it. It tastes pretty good, LeBron. I mean,
taste it. There you go. Exactly. Yes.
I mean, here's the thing. These kids, and even I have a son that's 20. I have a son that's 18.
Yeah.
And I wanted to punch my oldest son in the face the other day because he said goat James, and I said, well, you can get the hell out of my house.
There's no reasoning with this generation. I've had this conversation so many times, and the one thing I say,
if we had social media, if they didn't even need social media back then, and Jordan was he was everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
79 games of 40 or more points. 79. That's it.
For who? LeBron.
That's ridiculous.
And hold on. How many more seasons?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. I always say this to everybody who thinks the LeBron's better. 6 championships. Jordan won. Undefeated. I rest my case.
There you go. And never a game 7, by the way.
And,
how many different jerseys did LeBron
John
wear?
Lawson, I don't know why he's bringing up this point. Wilt Chamberlain had 63 40-point games. That's still 150 less than Michael Jordan.
Stand by, Curtis.
And Wilt Chamberlain is one of my all-time favorites.
Frankie, we got Curtis on the line. We're going to finish up with him. We'll come out to you. Stand by, all right?
Already.
All right. Go ahead, Curtis. Finish up here. And then we got Turnbuckle Talk.
The craziest thing about
Harry's favorite segment, by the way. He's gonna stand in tonight.
Of course.
Talk about John. Harry, what did you think about John Cena going Hill? What did you think about that? I'm gonna go to
pitcher.
One shot.
Is he a pitcher or a catcher? Which one is it?
John Cena going Hill. Go.
John Cena. Yeah.
Hey,
you can do like Gronk did. Remember that take that Gronk did? They played a prank on him. They talked about this fake tight end, and he wasn't prepared for it, so he just started rambling off about this tight end. They're like, "Hey, dude, he doesn't even exist."
Who the hell is John Cena?
Who the hell, man? I got
how
some
many
work to
how
do.
many rings does Tim Duncan have? 5, right?
5? Is it?
I thought it was 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's 4.
I thought it was 5.
4. I don't know. What else? Go ahead.
It's 4.
Well, let's check. Let's check the numbers here. Tim Duncan.
4. I want to say it's 4.
Tim Duncan championships. All right. Championships here. He had 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 5. 99.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, think about this.
Yes.
He lost 1 to Miami.
Correct.
If he wouldn't have lost 1,
yes,
he'd be 6-0.
Yes.
In the finals.
Yes. He 99.
And you telling me LeBron is better than Timmy? Are you serious?
Yeah. People will go on that. That again.
Tim Duncan just didn't get the accolades.
Yes.
Okay? He wasn't that.
That's
he
because
wasn't
he
that.
didn't.
That's
you know.
that's
you know
because
who
he
Tim
wasn't
Duncan
the
is?
scoring machine. Yes, I do.
Do you know? You know who Tim Duncan is? Tim Duncan is Mike Evans. He does not care.
No. He just goes
He's
about
not
his
going to talk.
What a
He's not going to do all that. He's going to go out there.
Point. I like that.
And if you allow him to, he's gonna bust your ass.
Well, Curtis is killing it tonight, as always. That's a great comparison.
No. Yeah, that was good against Matumbo. That was awesome.
No.
I can't believe he's gone. Matumbo, man. What a
God rest his soul.
I can't believe a lot of people are gone.
Manute Bol, man. That's another one.
Look, listen. This whole thing, this debate with Jordan, LeBron, there is no debate. Like I said, Jordan undefeated in the finals. One team. That was it. Didn't need to go to South Beach and do all this stupid stuff and hold a press conference. Not only that, just overall, he helped change the game. You know, fashion wise, the sneakers are a hit. You know, and the style of play, and LeBron just. I don't even want to talk about this guy anymore. He's not even worth it, man.
Someone said it best.
I personally can't put him over Kobe. I can't.
I can't do it either. I can't put him over Kobe either.
I got to tell you, man. Someone said it best, and I forgot who it was. LeBron actually says, and he talks about being the GOAT, that he's the greatest of all time.
Right.
Michael Jordan never came out of his mouth and said it.
Not once.
Michael Jordan's the one that sits back and listens to the people that say that Michael Jordan's the best. There's the difference between LeBron and Jordan. And you know what? It's a shame because LeBron, I remember it was like it was yesterday, man, when he was coming out of high school. This kid's phenomenal. I was just hoping he didn't become fat because I thought he was going to be a great player. You know, and he really did. He became a great player, but I've lost a lot of respect for him because he couldn't have played in yesterday's game. Everybody's like, oh, he would have dominated in yesterday's games. Has anybody seen this guy gets brushed on the cheek and he's holding his eye like someone poked it out forever? Okay. I mean, it's just, can you, they should start, you know, they should have flags in basketball they do in football. Unnecessary roughness.
Get myself prepared for Turnbuckle talk. I love you guys.
Number 23.
There you go. Good stuff, man. Curtis, we appreciate you. Definitely expect that second call for Turnbuckle Talk because we got that coming up.
Yeah.
With that being said,
here.
Turnbuckle Talk, Harry's favorite segment. We appreciate you as always. We'll go back to these comments in just a moment.
You guys can go talk about John, whoever his name is.
I wanted to talk Buccaneers for a second.
All right, let's talk Buccaneers. Harry, we'll see you later, my friend. All right.
Bye, guys.
Harry,
Take care.
Great night, bud.
Good stuff. All right, let's go out to Frankie from Wisconsin, the Hillmark. Go ahead, man. Talk Bucs.
You know, a lot of people, from at least from what I'm seeing, are criticizing the signing linebacker Anthony Bowens.
Well, Anthony Walker Jr. Yes.
Anthony Walker Jr. I don't know why I said Bowens.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's okay.
Anthony Walker Jr.
Yes.
Well,
it's the numbers, man. It's the overall grade of 48.
Honestly, the only thing I disagree about the signing is the contract price.
Okay.
That's the price that we paid for him, I think is ridiculous. I think he's a good fit. I think we overpaid for him.
Well, listen, the market
that's all I got to say.
Right. I mean, the market is there. It's already set. I mean, did they overpay? I don't know if they overpaid. I didn't see anything that was overpay, but his numbers weren't good last year. He knows it. He talked about it in the press conference today. Interesting enough, he said Levante David had a hand in this. So who knows? Maybe he plays with Levante David. He improves his game, or once again, like my buddy says, Louis here of the Frozen Pirate podcast, maybe you go out and get a Campbell from Alabama or draft somebody in the later rounds to go and compete. But linebacker is a spot that definitely was a sore spot, if you will, when it comes down to pass coverage and just overall tackling ability was not good last year. KJ Brett was a culprit of that.
Last year.
Right.
That was our weakest spot last year.
Yes. Was not good. Was not good.
I'm willing to give Walker the benefit of the doubt. I mean, if Levante's vouching for him, hey, that's our captain, man. So I'm going to go with what he says. He's never been wrong, in my opinion. Miami, let's not forget neither. Miami was not in the best of shape last year. That whole organization from the very first game when Tyreek Hill got arrested or whatever happened there, it was just all downhill. They had a very upsetting year. That team just didn't perform. So I'm willing to give this kid the benefit of the doubt. And he's got good company around him. He's got Levante David. And a lot of people are still counting out Savassier Dennis. I corrected myself. See that?
I know. I said that. You're getting it. Good job.
Savassier Dennis. A lot of people are counting him out. And another guy too, I feel like that's going to show up is Chris Braswell. A lot of people are thinking, oh, we got to get more edge rushers. I mean, Chris Braswell is still on this team, and I think he showed up a little bit towards the end of the year. But hey, like I said, these guys are the professionals. They know what they're doing. I and Jason Light, I trust. So I mean, I think they're putting together a really good team, and I think they're retooling that defense the right way. They're doing it the smart way. You don't necessarily have to go out there like we say all the time, Peter. This isn't Madden. We're not playing Madden. You don't have to go out there and go spend all kinds of crazy money on these high-profile players because those are guys that don't make a team. You need to bring back what the Buccaneers are doing. They bring back their core, and you have to build through the draft because that's your future. That's your future. You can't keep putting band-aids on stuff, especially not a pass rush. So,
and the linebacker that we had that a lot of people are forgetting about is Jose Ramirez. Remember, he was a stud in the preseason last year.
Yeah, I mean, he came on.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a little banged up too, I believe. But I mean, again, I think Dennis is definitely a guy. But I mean, I'm gonna keep saying it. If Campbell's there, you have to draft him. If he slips through the cracks, man, you have to get him because he's an all-around generational talent for this team. I really do. He reminds me of old school Buccaneer football. This dude can hit. He can rush the edge. He can cover. I mean, we were showing some highlights a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
He was a stud. I mean, and to learn under Levante David, we'll see what happens.
We'll definitely see what happens. What else, Frankie?
Well, did you get a chance to watch? Oh, I don't think you got a chance to watch it because you're doing this. But AEW tonight, they had the street fight.
Yeah.
For Mox and Cope, aka Edge.
How'd that go?
Blood everywhere.
Oh God, there was a spot, and it was gosh, because you know how Mox he's just this chaotic, crazy SOB, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Edge had a board that had nails in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he took it to the back of Mox. Okay. And Wheeler Yuta literally had to you seen him pulling. It was stuck in his back.
Oh.
The nails, the board with nails was literally almost hammered into his back.
They do a lot of this all the time. Like I've seen in ECW, I've seen it with WWE, but they do this all the time, and I get it. They want to, do some storylines. But as we were talking about off air tonight with AEW, the weakness part of it is the long-term storytelling or long-term booking. We from week after week, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know why you're doing a match. We don't know even why we should care about watching it. With Moxley, they bury the Death Riders over and over again. They have Cope. They have Christian with the pay-per-view, cashing it in, messing it up. I mean, it's just been a complete
atrocious.
Oh God! AEW it's a poop show. I'm gonna try and keep it PG for you as best I can.
Okay, I got
it. Hey, Tony Khan, if you're out there listening, hire me. I'll be one of your. I'll be one of your writers. I got some ideas, man.
I will write for you, and all you have to do is just let me hang out with the wrestlers. That's all.
I don't want to hang out with the wrestlers. They're giving out money for free over there. Apparently,
Frankie. All you got to do is pay Louis. Pay Louis. Pay everybody else.
Pay me. Pay me. I guarantee you, I can make a lot more sense of that.
I want a Will Ospreay autograph. That's all I got, man. Will Ospreay autograph, and I will do it for free.
All right.
I got a gripe about Will Ospreay.
All right, we'll talk about what else, Frankie. I know you want to use that second call, so what else?
Well, that's all I really want to talk about, man. I mean, other than the Raw, man, that promo that Cena cut.
Did you buy that? Did you buy it?
Oh, let me tell you, as somebody that is a diehard Cena fan, and somebody that is a heel mark, aka my name,
right?
And being somebody that has been a fan of Cena since day one, and then seeing this side of Cena, I had to sit there and go to a friend and go, did you believe it? And he said, yeah. Because I sat there and I was like, I like it. I believe it. But I need to talk to somebody that's not a fan of Cena and go, did you believe it?
But why did he do it? That's what I want to know. What's the explanation behind it? Why is he going Hill?
Honestly,
yeah.
Like from the explanation I got, it was just he was tired of the wishy-washy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like basically it's just like I come out here and I bust my ass day in and day out. And I come out here to a song that I made for you people. And all you do is, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. and then you got, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. That's all you people do.
Wow.
You love to chant that I suck. So you know what? Keep doing it. And he was like, you thought I'd come out here with new gear and new music? You don't deserve it.
Well, this is what he said. No matter what I do, it's never enough. You should all be ashamed of yourself. All you ever do is take. Not one of your sons of, you know what, asked how I feel. But John Cena is being cheered. He's a face. There was no explanation. I understand it, but then again, I wanted a little bit more of an explanation. Is that fair, Louis? I mean, should you have gotten a more of an explanation, or are they waiting for WrestleMania season?
I think they're slowly building this, in my opinion, because they're going to go face to face with each other. I think next week as well. I think next week's going to top this week. I think what you saw was kind of like a soft opening. Do I think he could have? I think he could have turned it up a notch, in my opinion.
Okay.
I like what he's doing, but I think he could have turned it up a notch a little bit. I felt like he was kind of like in first gear with that promo. I liked it. I do feel like there is a lot of subliminal truth to it, like some of the things he was saying towards the crowd. That's why I liked it. But then again, they're not going to just give everything. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a nice, slow build up because I can't remember what Cody said at the end, but I know he called him you know what.
Called him a bitch.
Yeah, he's like, this is just the bitch version. And then he just dropped the mic and walked out. And then you see Cena, and he just dropped the mic and walked. There's something more, that they're gonna show, obviously. But do I think he should have came out with new music? No, man, just keep it all the same. I think he maybe should have changed his style up a little bit. Yeah, I think he should have came out in street clothes or something. But yep.
Louis, seriously though. Like the highlight of that promo, and you tell me if I'm wrong. The kid in the audience, head to toe, in John Cena gear, with the stickers still on the merchandise, and he tells the kid off basically.
Well, he said, "I don't care about you. You don't matter to me. I'm breaking up with you." And
so that's what I'm saying. I think there's some subliminal. I think that really comes from a place where. You take a look at this guy overall, how long he's been around. You know how many times he's been harassed at an airport? Probably a lot more than your usual WWE guy. You know what I'm saying? He deals with so much. So I think what makes this promo work and why it's good is because it's coming from I think it's genuinely how he really feels in some way. You know what I'm saying? And so I mean Again, this guy, he don't care. He's loaded, and I like where this is going. I like this build up. But do I feel like he could have been a little bit more edgier? Yeah. Let's turn it up a little bit more. You really want to invoke people. You really want to get emotion from people. Tell them how you really feel, John.
That's it. All right. And I think there's some constraints there with Netflix, even though they're not on cable anymore. Frankie, appreciate the call, man. We're going to set the table here for Turnbuckle, but we're also going to read some more comments. But if you want to use that second call, yes.
One last question for you, and then I'm going to head out.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you here on your show, would you in the future love to be a guest on my podcast?
Absolutely, my friend. Of course I would.
All righty. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your show. I am going to take it easy for the rest of the night.
I love that guy. He's been a part of the Sports Web from the inception there on BR. He's amazing. Of course, I'd be on your podcast. All right, let's read these comments, and then we'll continue to talk more Turnbuckle talk. Just tuned in. Are we getting speed from Indy? Not sure about that. We'll have to do some more research. Nothing as official, but we'll see. Defense has got to carry the team early until the offense gets in the groove because of Grizzy, his first-time play caller. We haven't talked about that, even though you're bringing back the offense. Hopefully there's not that transition period where it takes him 8 games like it did with Canales, the middle of the season, to get his offense. I don't want to see that. I don't. But it's possible. Scott says, Scott Bradford, Stu has burned every bridge in Tampa and St. Pete. The only way the Rays can move forward is if Stu sells, period. Great comment.
Oh, yeah.
MLB now sees Stu as a problem. Mike D. Roche there in Canada. Hey, Peter. Hey, Louie. What's up, guys? What's up with you? Build a park where a roof opens, closes like Miami, then call a team St. Petersburg and dump the Rays name, rename the team St. Petersburg Bull Sharks, build in St. Pete. I don't think it's the name, but okay, John. Rays will move to Canada, Montreal. Come on now. They ain't doing that. John says, or St. Pete Sharks. John again. Get Dion and Brooks to become owners of the new St. Pete baseball team, along with more silent partners investing. All right, John. Godwin going to be a monster this year. I like that. John again. Bucs build strong defense and will have a chance at the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Draft a shutdown corner or trade for Stingley cornerback. That's not going to happen. You just signed a new deal. Big time deal there. I don't know if you saw that, John.
Highest paid.
Yep. Highest paid. Jason Light's the best GM in the NFL. Absolutely agree with that. John says, I got to give a shout out to Nick. Here it is. M. Mawari from South Carolina, 6'3", 225, ran a 4.2. Big safety, could play linebacker. Also, maybe play some corner. Kyle Kennard, freak defensive end out of South Carolina. Also, John, big-time Gamecocks fan. Mike D. Roche does like draft best man or get what they need. Great question, Jet Sky. Thank you very much. Appreciate you as always. John, draft viewers from Texas for our future. Don't think that's going to happen, especially with the 2 quarterbacks on the roster, re-signing Kyle Trask. I know only played for 3 years. Will he be Ring of Honor? Who is he talking about? Mike D. Roche. Is he talking about Tom Brady? Yes, Tom Brady will be in the Ring of Honor. Yours, same type as Mayfield with same size. Christopher Cole, JP keeps getting phone calls. He was. Thank you to JP. Crab-a-leg Winston, no. Deion Jones with the pick 6 against Winston. Now he's a Buccaneer. Yes. John, you beat them with the major pass rush. Mike, we already are battle tested against 2 out of 3. John, I know Gaines was signed, but TJ Sanders, DT out of South Carolina. Once again, big-time Gamecocks fan, so you could see the South Carolina bias. Thank you. Also, Todd not calling the proper defensive schemes. Again, not the proper defensive players. I think that's fair. John, again, Nick, okay. Christopher Cole, M. Starks can play anywhere on the field. Stover, we need, was it Malachi Starks or Denzel Burke? I believe Starks is out of Georgia. Build a stadium in Bradenton, but call them St. Petersburg Rays or Sharks. Not happening, John. Stop.
That's great off the shot right there.
They're already ownership group wanting to keep it in St. Pete. Christopher Cole, Stu isn't going to go out with the fight. John, Rats belong in St. Pete. Rays belong in St. Pete. Okay. Peter, thank you, Greek. Appreciate you calling in or coming in. Bucs success comes down to creating a dominant defense. Draft 2 lockdown corners, big physical safety in rounds 1 and 3. Commanders, good offense and defense. Bucs need that same combo. Good point. Christopher Cole, Reddick played middle linebacker to start his career. I don't see that happening.
No.
I'm a South Carolina Gamecock guy. Take a look at CB Donnell Fortune, better than Horn of the
They put some good talent out there. I will say that they got some good talent right now.
They do. Leftwich says Harry the Greek. Florida goes to the Final Four. That's his prediction. Thoughts on the women's tournament? Christopher Cole, not sure about that. Can anyone beat UConn? That's a great question. Probably dominating, as always. F safety, smash mouth, old school football. Thursday night football is a joke. They play a lackadaisical level because they don't want to be there. Christopher Cole, I believe they should move it back 10 yards, have a 4th and 15, or an 4th and 15 as an onside kick. I don't know about that, but I understand. Nice to see the Greek. Always nice to see you, Peter. Get the tush push out of here. Should be illegal to push a player from behind. CSB brother right there. Cole, definitely somewhat agree with that. I think, it's a part of the game. It's Peter, the best Bucs broadcaster in the Bay. Thank you. Fix the roof at Tropicana. They will. Mike D. Roche. Buccaneers claim the Greek off of waivers. Hiya, Peter. John changed the roof at the Trop for the roof to open. Costs a lot of money to do that. Do not sell the effing team, dude. St. Pete forever. Love Pinellas. Just fix the roof. It's more than the roof, John. I keep on saying
it's a lot, man. I do construction, and people think like it's this minor. Like from what I've seen, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and right now letting them letting that go, it's only going to get worse and worse. The infrastructure of the roof you're gonna get some serious issues. So, I mean,
all right,
not as easy.
Nope. I went to Lakewood High in St. Pete, fix the roof, call it done. I see agreed by the owner, Christopher Cole. Campbell has shoulder surgery after the combine. Maybe he drops. Hi, Greek and Peter. Thank you. You know I'm right. John, this is for the Greek. You ignored Peter on the kid from South Carolina. He's 6'3", 225. Yes, thank you very much. Nobody in Iowa ran a 4.2 Greek. Purdy is garbage. John says Rodgers would be perfect in Carolina. Not happening. Rodgers
loses his mind there.
Yeah. Jets suck. They do. Jets absolutely suck. Russell Wilson's just like Rodgers when it comes to teammate quality. I don't know about that. There has been some rumors or some reports about Russell Wilson as a teammate. I'm an SEC expert of 30 years. Amorwari, best safety in the SEC. Greek, Christopher Cole. Caleb Williams doesn't have any excuses now. Good point. Dave says San Diego State got destroyed by UNC last night in the first four. They are gone. That is correct. So Greek, again, follows some basketball, but doesn't. Got that one wrong. Michigan State, my favorite in college basketball with Tom Izzo. Cubs look like they are still in spring training. Got smoked by the Dodgers twice in Japan. Got to love that. It is early, though. What do they got? Another 60 games. They play ball in Japan for money. Mike D. Roche. Texans add Daniel Hunter 1 year, 35.6. Wow. Braun good for 2 more years. Christopher Cole, 23 years in the league. Jordan had only 16 years. Just imagine Jordan played in today's NBA. It would be amazing. Tatum, best in the NBA. Jason Tatum, best in the NBA, in your opinion?
I mean, he did carry the Celtics to a championship last year. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, best in the NBA. I mean, I don't know. But then again, I don't know. The NBA is weird, man. It's just no defense, only 3-point shots. There's no physical. I don't know.
How about the guy from Oklahoma City there? Nobody's talking about Alexander.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, he goes under the radar a little bit. There's somebody else too. I can't think of it. Again, I'm not really up on basketball too much, but there was somebody else.
It's okay. LeBron also bullied Stephen Smith because he cries about the criticism of his son, Bronny. Good comment. Mike D. Roche, this is for the Frozen Pirate. Louis, do you have a Buccaneer tattoo? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's awesome. There you go.
It's a little faded.
Okay, go ahead.
A little faded, but I'm going to retouch it up.
It's all right. It's not as faded as my spider tattoo on my right arm. I got to get that touched up. LeBron got 3 coaches fired. The Cavs coach from 2016, Lou and Ham. Of course, that'd be Mike Brown, personal whipping boy. Not Lou, but the Lakers coach from 19. JJ Redick is a yes man for LeBron. Mike D, yes, I do on my hand. Actually, 4 coaches fired. Platt, yes, who could forget him?
Yeah.
Yes, Vogel, Frank Vogel. Didn't he also get Brown fired?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Brown. Yeah, he did.
Yes. All right. Michael Jordan had 40 points in his career. John, how about John Stockton? 31. Christopher Cole, it's tough enough playing against the super team. MLB's poster child when everyone knows they want to win in Japan. John again. Greek Chamberlain had 63 40-point games. Mike D. Roche, LeBron, go F yourself. Dave, also Jordan stopped NBA players like Barkley, Malone, Stockton, Drexler from winning titles. Mike D. Roche, LeBron, you are a very distant second to the airness. John Lambier, it's Tiffy time, says Mike D. Roche, as we get into more of Turnbuckle talk here. And let's get out to another comment here. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're on Turnbuckle talk. What's up?
This is Eric from Lakeland, Florida. What's going on, Peter? Bring the passion, bring the excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense in here.
There you go, my friend. Go ahead. What's on your mind tonight?
We talking wrestling or just talking anything?
Well, we're talking wrestling, but you want to talk some wrestling, we can. If you want to talk some Bucs, we can.
Okay. I'm a big wrestling fan.
Okay.
Were you surprised? I think someone predicted that Cena was going to turn heel and team up with The Rock, and I've always been a big Cena fan. And I kind of knew, if they're going to keep Cody Rhodes as a face, you really can't have two good guys go at it, like a bad guy and a good guy go at it.
Well, I mean, again, I was one of those people who said, "What if this happens? What happens if it goes down like that? Will it work?" I need still an explanation of what Cena was doing and why he turned heel. I don't think it was a good enough explanation, but I think Louis is right. They're going to talk more about this, and it's the right way to go at this point. And I think there's a lot of people surprised and shocked by it. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I like it. I think it's good storyline and can lead to some bigger and better things coming up here in the future for WWE, and of course WrestleMania 41 right around the corner.
I do think.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead, Louis.
I do think we're going to get the answer to why he did what he did probably the last Monday before Raw. I think there's going to obviously, I just think that there's going to be a physical altercation between the two. And I think Cena will get the better of it. And I think he's going to give him the explanation, because it's just going to intensify the match even more. That's going to be like the main match that people are going to really want to watch. Like I said, this is going to be a slow build. I just want to see Cena turn it up just a little bit more. I know he can.
That's it. You're absolutely correct about that. So what else, Eric?
That's pretty much it. Go Rays, go Bucs, Super Bowl champions, World Series champs, and Stanley Cup champions all in the same year.
Hey man, that would definitely be nice, Eric. You good? you hanging in there?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Peter. I appreciate the support, man.
Got you, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's gonna be tough in May. I probably told you this on Messenger, but gonna do a memorial in May.
All right, man.
So yeah,
we hang in there. We'll try to take your mind off of this with this sports talk. All right, and wrestling talk.
All right.
All right,
Have
man.
a good night.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Feel bad for that guy because he's going through it. But we're here for you guys. We really are. We really do care about the fans here. It's not just about sports. It's not just about wrestling talk. It's about you supporting the show. We support you no matter what your guys are doing in your daily lives, and we try to take your mind off of that. Let's go out to Curtis here using his second call on Turnbuckle Talk. Welcome to Turnbuckle Talk, Curtis.
Oh, you know I was coming back.
I knew you were coming back. Yes, sir. Go for it.
You knew I was coming back.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
All right. So, what is? I want to know, what do you guys think is? What am I missing? What have I missed?
Well, I mean, we had this segment tonight. I mean, how would you book this? Right? I mean, what was the segment you talked about off air here that we could do on Turnbuckle Talk? I thought it was interesting. And I said, how would you book this? How would you book the John Cena thing? Let me go out to you, Louis, and then we'll come out to you, Curtis. Do you think this has been rightly booked, if you will, or would you book it a different way with John Cena being a heel?
I think this is going the right way. And if I was to book this, I mean, I wouldn't have touched anything. Like, everything that's going on right now is good, but I mean, obviously, going back to what I said, have John Cena turn it up just a little bit more. Again, I would continuously let them continue to do what they're doing, and then to kind of really twist things around, I'd have Cody turn heel at WrestleMania out of complete rage from John Cena, and I think The Rock gets the soul, if you will. That's the way I'd do it. I don't know. It's just, and then because I think things can't stay the same forever, because eventually things start to get stale. And we see this with a lot of, like, I feel like Rhea Ripley's one that's kind of very stale.
Yep.
I feel like moving Cody into the heel aspect, and Cody can be a great heel. I've seen it at Ring of Honor. He was awesome as a heel, especially with the Bullet Club.
Would he
They did a lot.
would he turn heel if he lost?
I think there's a couple of ways you could book him if he to turn heel. I mean, I don't think they're going to, but if it was me, I probably like to build up the WrestleMania. I would make Cody a little bit more obsessed with that title because it seems like a lot of guys get obsessed with the holding onto the title. We've seen it with CM Punk. I'd kind of go in that direction a little tiny bit, but I don't know. I mean, it's tough to tell. I mean, the Cody and the Cena thing for me, it's that's tough for me to like sit there. I'd have to like really sit there and think about how I would do that. But like I know the way it started, how I wouldn't touch anything. The way it's starting right now, I like it. But I know the way I would end it. I would end it like, taking a page out of Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, having Stone Cold sell his soul. Like I would kind of do the same thing, pull one over on Cena. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because I really didn't expect that at all from John. I really did not. I did not expect him to turn heel. And I think, Peter, you called it. You said, I wouldn't be surprised if he turned heel. So
yes,
kudos to you, man. You hit it right on the head. But again, I didn't expect it. So that's why I like to think about it right now, like how I would do it. I don't know. How would you do it?
How would you do it, Curtis?
Honestly, I don't know right now.
It's tough. It's tough. It's not an easy one.
And I'm flabbergasted because here's the thing. Sorry, that's the good weed. Anyway,
That's
a
sage
you're burning in the background, like Travis Scott was
like
there.
Travis, yeah.
Yeah, Travis.
But anyway, here's the thing though. If Cody turns to be a heel, who's going to be the good guy? Is Roman Reigns going to go back being a good? Is Roman Reigns going to go back being a good guy?
Is it Roman Reigns?
Yeah, I mean, the crowd really seems to be amplified with him. You saw what he did. He choked out Seth Rollins out of that cage, snatched him up, like just, and the crowd went nuts. Even CM Punk, who's a big, very over with that crowd, and he beat the hell out of CM Punk in that cage, and the crowd ate it up. I mean, again.
You know what? I apologize. And let me say this. Actually, we don't need Roman Reigns to be the good guy. You know why?
Why is that?
Because win or lose, Cody can turn heel. Doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because we have Jey Uso.
Yeah,
yeah. That's good. That's a good point, Curtis.
Jey Uso,
is he really gonna? You guys honestly think he's gonna win that championship though? It's tough to tell right now because
listen, I'm gonna tell you something. They'd be idiots not to put that title around Jey. Did you see the explosion he got at Royal Rumble when he won that match?
Absolutely. I said it. I said he's so over right now, and I went to one of the events in Providence at the Amica Pavilion, whatever that's called. They've changed that name so many damn times already. And it's a little bit smaller of a venue, but when he came out, like that energy, everybody's cell phone was lit up, and the crowd was kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie. The crowd outside of Rhea Ripley coming out, and she was there for like a run-in. But when Jey Uso came out, like the crowd was hyped up, like the energy level was through the roof, like you could feel it. And there was, if I had to say, 40% of that place was wearing a Jey Uso Yeet shirt, including myself.
Because here's the thing, I remember Kofi Mania. Kofi Mania got big really quick because what did he win? He won at the Elimination Chamber. He didn't win at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then he went on to win at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Kofi Mania was huge. This is already as big as that.
Well, it's pretty big, but remember, Kofi Mania lasted how many minutes versus Brock Lesnar? What was that? 3 minutes.
They squashed that very quickly.
Well, that's because guess what? But I mean, Kofi. As much
was
as
it the right decision to do that?
Kofi's not heavyweight champion material. He's not.
Yeah,
he's been great Listen, he's been great as a tag team champ with the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. He was great as an IC champ. He was great as an Intercontinental champ.
Right.
I mean, United States champ. But you don't see Kofi carrying the brand.
Then why do the Kofi Mania in the first place? You know, that's what I'm saying.
I think they did it because they were selling so much merch.
Right.
It was a
yeah, it's what I think that's what it came down to. They sold so much merch with the New Day and those unicorn things on the heads and all the T-shirts and the cereal and all that. And and let's face facts, the Raw and SmackDown really, like, the talent, like the roster, it wasn't as appealing as it is now. Like, to put it on Cody right now, I mean, to put it on Kofi right now, I think it'd be a waste. And that's nothing against him, but it's just it'd be a waste. And I don't know. Do you guys feel like they made the right decision with Brock and him?
I never liked that. I never liked the squash match, because why are you doing it in the first place? It kind of defeats the whole purpose. It defeats the whole. Yeah, you won the title. Okay, well, what kind of run did he have? Well, you lost to Brock Lesnar in a squash match, which wasn't that great. So
I agree. It diminished the title run.
Diminished it. Yeah, it's pointless.
And it's sad, but that wasn't during Triple H's era. That was still Vince McMahon.
Yep, of course. Vince is all part
of that. You know
what
I'm saying? Like, I don't think Triple H would ever do that.
Yeah.
Nah, he has more logic, man. That's what it is. He's got more logic.
And see, here's the thing. I think that with this if Jay beats Gunther, this rivalry could go all the way from SummerSlam, everything. Because think about it. They fought at Saturday Night Main Event.
And
it was
but I mean, I think in my opinion, if I was to book that, I would have Gunther go over Jay at WrestleMania, and then the next night I'd have Jay win it. Because that you want to talk about a pop, you know what I'm saying? Because it still protects Gunther, because I see me. I don't really want to see Jay and Gunther. I want to see Gunther in like Brock. I want to see Gunther in like Roman. I want to see him with those type of cats.
Yes.
And that's why I maybe they have some, like, I want to see Gunther and Jacob Fatu. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, that would definitely be awesome. Curtis, we got to run, man. We're at 3 hours and 33 minutes. I appreciate the call. We're going to wrap this up. But great stuff as always, Curtis.
Always.
All right, man.
All right.
Good stuff. All right, let's read this. Goldberg on the Ariel Helwani show says, I never got a chance to get my hands around Cena's throat. This might have been cool. There are a lot of people I would have loved to have faced back in the day, but the fact is, what does that do for the business now? A lot of people don't even remember me that watch wrestling right now. A lot of people don't know me because they speak negatively of me. I think it was an innovator of sorts. There are a plethora of people. Well, yeah, the reason why they speak in negative fashion of you is the last couple matches you had there in Saudi Arabia. You buried who was it?
You almost killed the Undertaker.
Yeah, killed the Undertaker. That was a terrible match. And then you also had another terrible match with the late great Bray Wyatt there, squashing him and winning the Universal. What a terrible booking decision. And I get it, you got lots of money for $4 or $5 million to go overseas, but just terrible to put the belt on somebody like that when you have Bray Wyatt, who's a young superstar. He says, I'd love to have a rematch of Roman Reigns. There are so many guys that are so talented on the cusp of stardom. If not there yet, there are possibilities. Braun Breaker is a logical solution. Okay. It's all on how the powers that want to make it happen. The problem with this is, and let me just finish up the comment. We'll figure it out. Hopefully at the end of the day, I'm able to present myself in a positive manner to where people of today who don't remember me were sure as frick remember after they see my last name, and it won't be in a negative way. The problem with this is that as much as we love Goldberg and his legacy and everything, it's all about Goldberg. Everything in that comment was about Goldberg. The problem with the business is a guy like that, the vehicle is to put somebody over like a Braun Breaker. Yeah. Goldberg doesn't want to do that, and he's made no mistake about it. He doesn't want to put anybody over. He just always wants to be over everybody, and it's not his time. It's a guy like Breaker's time. It's a guy like Roman Reigns' time. It's a guy like Gunther who he's gonna most likely wrestle. It's gonna be a good match, but the problem is when it comes down to the business of it, Goldberg is not about what's best for business. Goldberg is about what's best for himself. Agree?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the point of having a match with Braun Breaker for what? To hinder his progression?
Right.
Like to squash him? Like just for your own selfish ego? I mean, that whole situation with the Fiend, like he shouldn't have did that. Like that was just I don't know. He just every time he comes around, man, it's just like, oh, I'm Goldberg, and I gotta bolster my ego a little bit, and it's just bad for business, like you said, bad for business.
It is bad for business. Now, you also said this about passing the torch, which is what he should be doing. He's the new generation. I'm the old generation. It's kind of like passing the torch in a way. I wouldn't turn that one down by any stretch of the imagination. You don't ever open your mouth in front of my wife or my son negatively about me. He also said about WWE and Vince. Vince had promised me another match because not too many people know this, but I took the Roman match with like a month prior notice, and I had COVID. That's not the way to go out. I'm always in the bottom of my heart wanted to go out. I always in the bottom of my heart wanted to go out and present myself in a little bit more positively than I was able to. I mean, Paul and I spoke. We came into an agreement that in 2025 I have my retirement match. So I understand. I'm kind of understanding now where he's coming from. He wants to be in a positive manner. He wants to have the retirement match. Okay. All right. Is that the vehicle? Is he going to be able to put over a Braun Breaker? Is he going to be able to put over a Gunther? Is he still going to be able to look strong, which is what he wants to look like? Okay, fine. I'm able to do that. But if he's just looking to put over himself, then
Go
it
to
does
AEW.
go to AEW. Exactly.
That's you want your last retirement match? Go to AEW. I'm
They
sure
have like
you'll get
30
paid handsomely. You'll
Yes.
get paid a king's ransom, and you get to squash whoever you want. MJF, uh, whoever, Ricochet. You get to squash any one of those guys.
Yes.
Speaking of AEW,
Hmm.
we were talking about this.
Yes, we were.
Malachi Black,
Mm-hmm.
Tommy End, Aleister Black, whatever. So we were talking about this off air. The problem with AEW, the inconsistency, the lack of proper storytelling. When Malachi / Tommy End, when they messed up his name during his AEW debut, that was by far one of the best debuts for anybody. And the crazy fact was there was no compete clause. He had none in his contract to
Mhm.
show up on AEW TV and then give one of the best spin kicks. And Arn Anderson sold the hell out of that and the microphone up in the air. And that little rivalry between him and Cody was amazing. It was good. It was good. Like good versus evil, the light versus the darkness. Like, and the promos. A lot of people are not big on Malachi's promos. I think they're pretty interesting and stuff like that. I think he's a phenomenal talent. It goes to show you how pathetic AEW is. They dropped the ball on this guy who could have been the heavyweight champion, but they're too obsessed with watching guys bleed all over the place in meaningless street fights, meaningless matches. You could have had some really good matches. You could have had Kenny Omega. I remember watching the House of Black going up against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. When Kenny Omega and Malachi Black went at it, that was awesome. Why aren't you guys doing that? Why aren't you guys making a rivalry out of that? No, instead, we're just gonna keep watching people bleed over each other. I'm excited to see. I don't know. They played a vignette. It said the number 4 with the smoke. They played a little vignette. I
Mhm.
hope it's Malachi. I really do. And
It
you're
is.
gonna get to see. You think so?
Yeah, it is. It's a tease for it's definitely a tease for him. Aleister Black, I guess
Aleister,
that's the name.
yeah.
And then you also have Ray Phoenix coming in.
Well, that's what
So
I'm saying. Could it be Ray Phoenix? Could it be Malachi / Aleister?
I think it's both. I think they have both. They have both teases there for both of
Yeah.
those wrestlers. So,
But
yeah.
in order to do that, though, with
Mhm.
Aleister or whatever he's coming back as, they have to do this the right way because I think he's a very good talent, and I think he's like I'm interested to see him go up against guys like Roman Reigns. I want to see him go up against Seth Rollins and company, even Jey Uso.
Mhm.
But they got to do this right. No more of the supernatural crap. Like that stuff's just gotta. All right, we get it. You're into the dark arts. You're into all this stuff.
Mhm.
Let that be a persona. Kind of like what I said about Roman Reigns back then. I said I can't stand the blue contacts, the stupid bulletproof vest. Take the vest off. Let him show that tattoo. Partner him. Put him as a heel with somebody and make him a Samoan badass. And
Mm.
guess what? Long and behold, that worked. My advice with Alistair or Malachi, keep that persona of the mask that you came out with, but because that's who you are, that's your entity. But keep it at that. Don't do all this supernatural stuff. I don't want to see any of that.
Mm.
Don't insult my intelligence anymore. I know you don't have superpowers. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to see that. I just want to see good matches because overall, I think even in WWE, Vince McMahon dropped the ball on him too. So
Agree. All right, so
that's
let's go back out to these comments here, and then we will wrap up Turnbuckle Talk. Sorry, guys, I'm getting tired here, and I'm getting ready to get to bed. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Go look at Walker's tape from 2023. You'll see why he signed him. We'll do that. Christopher Cole says LeBron doesn't even get touched, and he goes down. Absolutely. Danny Stutzman there, linebacker, Oklahoma. Good stuff. First 30 minutes of Raw was epic. I got to go back and watch it. Cena sucks in Spanish or French was kind of cool. You know I'm right. You skipped my factual comment. I see. I didn't skip anything. Oh, Raw was only 2 hours, but an hour and a half without commercials. That's always a good thing. The best part of the Cena promo on Raw was the end. I thought his rant was boring and at times very repetitive. Sob story. The Rock should buy the Rays. Not happening. Gunther beats the Yeet out of Jey Uso. 6040 BRNSN. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You've been tuning in here lately. We appreciate that. Jacob Fatu is getting a big push. That he is. Mike D. Roche, the New Day is boring. John says Saul Goldberg at Texas Roadhouse in South Carolina was nice. Nice guy. Mike D. Roche, Goldberg is a dangerous, careless wrestler. Ask Bret Hart. Yeah, ask Bret Hart over again. That's all he talks about. Him taking that kick. And then Goldberg blended in, didn't want attention. With that being said, I think we'll wrap it up there. Give me some final thoughts here on Turnbuckle Talk here on a Wednesday night, my friend.
AEW, I got to call them out. Again, hire me. Like I said, pay me a little bit. I can help that company out. Again, it's just, I just don't know what to say. I just, even watching the Tony Storm match, why this woman's bleeding like that and the glass, it's just disgusting. I'm not into that. You know, I don't think a lot of people are into that. I mean, and it shows in their crowds. You know, I think in order, I love where WWE is at, and they're light years. They're in another galaxy right now, and AEW is still in the orbit here in the Milky Way. Like WWE is light years away. I want to see more competition, and I want to see AEW. I really do. I want to see them develop storylines. I want them to, like. There's too many titles. There's too much meaningless stuff. I mean, I think they have like 180 guys on a roster. It's so bloated. Just I just want to see stuff that makes sense. Something that will lure me in, like the early stages of AEW. You know, just and it's too much, man. It's just it's none of this stuff makes sense. And Will Ospreay, fantastic talent, wrong company, too cocky.
Yep, agree. I completely agree with that. Jeff Jarrett says he's one of the best wrestlers right now out there. We'll get to that maybe next week.
But again,
yes,
real quickly, a lot of the stuff they're doing is so meaningless. There's no like I know I said a lot of people are gonna be like, well, the match that Rollins and Punk had, they kept on kicking it out of each other's finisher. If you've been paying attention, if you've been watching that rivalry, it's okay to do that with a rivalry like that because they don't want to lose. When I see Will Ospreay jumping off these ropes and doing all this crazy stuff and like these high impact moves, I believe the Undertaker said it best. It's meaningless.
Yep.
When it comes down to the finisher, oh, you mean to tell me this guy just took a swanton dive and they did a 450 splash, like through a table, but he kicked out, but he just hit him with, I don't know, we'll say a leg drop, and he got the 3 count, and that's it. The match is over. It doesn't make sense. They're peaking. I don't know the proper term to use. It just doesn't make sense. There's no.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. The moves are too repetitive. You don't need to do all that stuff. They really don't. They need to just kind of minimize all those special things, and that's why WWE is light years ahead of them, because a lot of those epic matches, like that steel cage match between Punk and Rollins, it was called for those finishes to get constantly kicked out of, if that makes sense. It was called for in that situation because that was a special moment. These two hate each other. With AEW, man, it's just, and we have seen it. Guys like Kenny Omega, the top guys are getting hurt, like they can't perform. You know what I'm saying? Kenny Omega was amazing in New Japan. I'm not gonna lie, amazing. Look at him now; he's kind of a shell of himself. And why? Because these stupid matches that they're doing. So that's all I got to say.
Hey, man. Louis of the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Appreciate the time here on the Evolution. We'll see you next week, my friend. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
All right, bro.
We got a lot more to do.
A lot more good stuff there, right there. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there. Thanks a lot to all the guests. Him, of course, Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Remember, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake, as Facebook stars are there. Of course, YouTube Super Chats. Darlene, thank you very much. Green Queen for the YouTube Super Chat. Get on that train there. Give if you love the content. We'll be back on Monday night here with more talk of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your Tampa Bay Rays, more talk of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Need to talk about them. And, of course, March Madness. Enjoy all the basketball games. And remember, as always, 3 things. Keep it down. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay Sports Fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. As we always say on this show, go Bucs.